Everybody.
Now, will Laura come on the screen then?
Working.
Open it up. Yeah, very good.
Good, how are you? How are you? I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, all right. That's Uncle Bill, it was French.
Very, how you doing? Good, sir. What about you?
Pretty good. I'm all right. Good.
Yeah.
Or one at 6:30. Or is it 6:30?
We're trying to get on right now. We need to
Yeah.
delete sent to her.
Did you hear that, Kara?
Yeah.
Okay. Zoom. Oh, on the Facebook, okay. Participants one. Audio, video, participants chat, reset, live stream work. See this. There's a share.
Yeah.
Playing it outside. Okay, you want
It's good.
18.
Well, it's kind of function too, so it's sound.
But it's something I see.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Sounds good. I'll leave my phone here in case we need something. Okay, thanks. Bye.
So we're away. Not that. Anyway. That's what it is. You should do. Well, I think that it's more.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you do.
We have to approve those. So we don't have to approve. Oh, good, good. Well, I'm gonna send this again. Is this a Jenny plan?
Yes,
So we're not gonna do anything before this meeting.
Yeah. That's what we are.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yeah, so I can do this. I can do this one. You get started.
Or-
She's getting there. She's talking sooner or
I was
something.
looking at kind
She didn't have service.
Okay, we're gonna start the meeting here at 6:32. Let's call the order 6:32. Roll call, Gary. Mary.
Here.
Ben's here. Jason.
Here.
Ernest, absent. Subscribe for tonight or for this meeting. We got the video, right?
She wants to go on the video. She wants to use the video for the minutes. Is that what you're asking?
Car's gonna do it here in the mirror. Okay, sounds good. Communications, we have received a letter from Chris Nicholson. I have communicated back with him. I think we're all good. We have, Chris Nicholson has also added a, email for public comments in support of the, North Lake Special Assessment District. Communications, we got. Comments? Pardon?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one.
So, what we're here for is a public hearing on the North Lake Special Assessment, the presentation of the proposed North Lake Special Assessment District. North Lake Association has submitted a petition representing over 50% of the land area, requested implementation of a lake weed control program. The proposed projects include weed harvesting, chemical treatment, aeration, and other necessary methods along with professional testing and monitoring services. The program is proposed for a 10-year period with an estimated annual cost of $950 per parcel, totaling approximately $9,500 per parcel over the duration of the project. Our action tonight is to provide a presentation, open a public hearing, and consider the public comments regarding the establishment of the North Lake Special Assessment District and the proposed scope and cost of the project. We have received public comment by writing from, I guess she just used their last name, Berg, Murphy, Murphy again, Chris Nicholson, Grace Markin, Gail McLaughlin, Rudell, Dan and Colleen Murphy, Jeff, that'd be Jeff Allen, I guess. Jeff Allen, is that who that is?
Neff.
Neff, okay. And then Walker. That's what we received in communications for the. We're going to open the public hearing. Be nice to each other. Let somebody finish what they're talking. Everyone's here to voice their opinion to us. We're up here to listen and hear what you have to say and to not interfere with you either or respond back to you. We're looking to hear what you have to say so that we can make our opinion of this. So
3 minutes.
you have 3 minutes to talk, so try to make sure that what you want to tell us is the most important thing you have to say. And with that, what we'd like to do is have those that are proposing the proposed North Lake Special Assessment District. Anyone that would like to get up and talk about that and why they're in support of it, we will open the floor to those. You'll get 3 minutes.
Do you want to do opposing first?
We're doing the opposing first, and then we're going to give the
Support. Okay.
supporting ones an opportunity to answer the proposing one. That way, let's be fair that way. So anyone opposing at this point would like to make a public comment, raise your hand. You're going to have to state your name, your address, and with that, we'll get that recorded so that we can make our meeting minutes, and we're taping it, we'll get your comments, and they'll be properly included into the meeting minutes. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Yep.
My name is Colleen Murphy and my address is 53250 County Road 384. I've owned property on North Lake since 2019. We bought our property because we love this lake, the water, the quiet, the community. The last thing we want is drama or conflict. I'm here tonight as a spokesperson for at least 17 landowners who feel the same way. We love North Lake. We just want this process to be fair. Point 1, the petition. The board showed landowners 3 different budget options at meetings, but showing people options at a meeting and putting those options on the legal document they sign are 2 completely different things. The actual petition, the legal document, only described one option. It specifically named aeration as a purpose. So when landowners signed that petition, they were signing a document that said aeration, not option B, not option C, aeration. They had no reason to think it was optional, and that is not fair. Point 2, the real numbers. We were told $950 flat for 10 years. The board's own May 2024 budget document tells a different story. Year 1 actually cost $1,198 per member, not $950. The cost swings between $827 and $1,198 depending on permit years. That was never disclosed to us. There's also $10,000 in legal fees built into year 1. Landowner money paying lawyers because landowners ask questions. And Michigan Part 309 law requires competitive bidding on these contracts. It has never happened. Not once. Point 2A, the May vote question. We would also like to ask the board to confirm tonight on the official record that landowners will have a formal documented vote on which budget option to follow before any SAD funds are committed. We want to make sure that commitment is part of the official record tonight. Point 3, the Cedar Lake contrast. Cedar Lake, right here in Van Buren County, same drain commissioner as Mr. Parman, read a complete line-by-line transaction register at their spring 2025 meeting. Every check, every deposit, every expense. 42 residents heard every penny accounted for. When dues came up, they voted not to raise them because they had a healthy $12,000 balance. Members decided together in the room with complete information. Cedar Lake members vote on dues with full financial information in hand. North Lake members are being asked to commit almost $500,000, $532,000 without knowing the current account balance. That is the contrast, and this is what fairness looks like. Point 4, the lake level. The board confirmed our lake has dropped below its legal level. They sent us a document listing the advantages and disadvantages of fixing it. They highlighted one disadvantage in red, the cost. What we found in that same document and want to make sure everyone is aware of is that those costs are actually tax deductible for federal returns. That is an important benefit that deserves to be part of this conversation. We also want to raise something gently and respectfully. If the lake has been running below its legal level for some time, it is worth asking whether any low-lying structures near the water line were built based on that lower water level rather than the legally established level. We're not suggesting anyone did anything wrong. We're simply noting that restoring the lake to its legal level affects different properties differently. And that is exactly why a proper feasibility study matters. Mr. Parman, can you help us understand where our lake level currently stands and what a feasibility study would cost? And then closing, I want to be completely transparent tonight. Our coalition has no political agenda. We're not here representing anyone other than ourselves and our fellow landowners. We did our own research. We drew our own conclusions. But I also want the township board to know that I personally spent weeks sifting through emails, budget documents, legal notices, and public records just to understand what was actually happening with our own lake. Weeks. For a lake we bought property on because we love it and want to relax here. That should not be necessary. A fair and transparent process does not require that kind of detective work from ordinary taxpayers. We have submitted our written concerns to the township clerk tonight. We ask the township board to ensure those concerns are formally addressed before this SAD is approved. Thank you.
You ran over a little.
Sorry.
You're representing 17 people with that letter,
Yes, sir.
is that correct? And are some of them here tonight?
Yes, they are.
Next.
A lot of you heard just what she said. If you're gonna say the same thing, it's really not gonna be necessary. We have 17 people that are saying this. Okay?
Yeah.
We heard that. 17 people represent this letter, okay? If you still have a comment though that you feel is gonna help us, then feel free to make your public comment. We're not telling you you can't make a public comment. But we understand 17 people represent this letter.
Colleen, would you be able to supply the names of those 17 people at some point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else opposing over here that would like to say something that,
You know, I got something to say, Ken.
well, yeah,
Let me get my
Bob
timer.
Belsky,
we're timing you.
312 County Road, 384. And the same old thing, I go back to those aerators and all they do is push the muck around. Originally, they told us that if the muck was gonna go out, whatever they do. And ask other people here the same thing, they got the same comment, and that's why I initially voted on it. They don't do nothing, not one thing except push the muck around. So the muck will be here, bubblers go on, they push it somewhere else and it goes back and forth. And besides that now, the big problem we got out there now is there's 4 weeds out there that are very aggressive weeds that are taking over the lake. And if they don't take the time or the money, whatever, to get rid of those weeds, the lake will be totally gone then. So different things gotta be taken care of. They gotta get different opinions from different companies, different people to see what we can do to go forward with this. To sign a 10-year contract now to do the same thing that isn't working, don't make much sense to me. And the money we're spending now, 950,000, whatever it is, I mean, that's a lot of money that we're paying for this now. And if you don't get other options or other opinions on what we can do with the lake to get the proper thing, then it's just wasting our time again. Thank you.
Anyone else opposing? Where, name and address?
Given 10801 County Road 215. My biggest problem with all of this is that when you've been locked into this SAD for 5 years and then they extended it for 5 years. So we've been 10 years now on this, but the budget has been locked in to that where there's really no deviation. There's no, you know, we talked about it last year to where we can't just go next year and spend a little bit of money on harvesting and spray less and cut down on some of the bubblers because this has been locked in. But from what I read on the proposed SAD going forward is that the board is the one that's making these final decisions about some very important things. I almost on a year-to-year basis is the way I read this. Now, if that's not accurate, but I believe that is accurate reading these emails, that almost on a year-to-year basis, they're going to get to make these important decisions. Do we keep a bubbler system? Do we not? I understand there's time frames here, and I understand the whole diesel testing and all of that that's coming about, but finally, even on the email dated on April 5th, it comes down to the board is actually going to make this vote on how they're going to proceed, whether it's bioaugmentation, is it harvesting, is it bubblers, is it spray, almost on a year-to-year basis. And that seems to me crazy that on such a small area that there's what, 50 or 60 property owners, that I mean, we're not talking about 18 million votes here, we're talking about 60. So these important decisions are being made by 6 people instead of the group, and I think that's wrong. That's my opinion. I think this should be voted on an annual basis or a semi-annual, but this does state that the board is finally making this decision. Yeah, we'll listen to everybody's comments, and I'm not beating up on the board. You guys do a lot of work, I got it, and it's voluntary and all that. But nonetheless, this whole thing has really turned into, over the 10 years, has turned into quite a bit of a bureaucracy. There's a lot of money involved here. Even the aspect of all the Eagle testing and all of this. It's a big deal. And this has turned also into a whole lot of money, by the way. When we started off at I'm gonna say 320, 350. Is that 10 years ago? And now all of a sudden, that was our commitment 10 years ago, 350, wasn't it?
Right.
In that, well, under 400, and now we're at 950. And in my opinion, and let me know if I'm going over.
You are, yeah,
You
you're
are.
good.
Wait, you can't have-
In,
Yeah, 30 more seconds.
in my opinion, the bubblers, the aeration system has been eating up a major part of the budget, but has done a limited amount, but there's been some other benefits to it. So I'm not 100% against it. But I'm just saying that I don't agree with how these decisions are going to be made going forward. Thank you.
Anyone else opposing? Okay, we're,
Supporting.
those supporting, if you're speaking for a group, we can give you a little bit more time. Just let us know that you're doing that.
Well, I'd say you'd speak for a group.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Dr. Jennifer Jamalowitz Jones, and I'm your lake consultant manager. And the program that we're proposing is attacking multiple issues. So the first one is muck. If we look back at the original sediment hardness scan back in, I believe it was 2013, there was a lot of beige color on the lake, which indicated a lot of organic muck. The whole bottom of North Lake is pretty much organic. What we're trying to do is reduce that organic muck so that there's more sand and gravel exposed over the shorelines and there's less weeds overall. So that's over time going to hopefully reduce the need for herbicide treatments other than invasive species, which have become a big deal out there. We've had Kabamba, which came out a few years ago. That's a very aggressive fragmenting plant, just like milfoil and curly leaf pondweed. And so we have 3 plants, actually 4, if you include starry stonewort, 4 invasives that we have to deal with that have had relative quick onset, as well as the muck reduction. So that is what is being proposed. I fully support this approach. I think that the lake has come a long way since we started, especially relative to the muck reduction and also the water quality. But the vegetation is something that we have to get on top of because there's more invasives in the seed bank that keep being exposed as we reduce that muck, and we have to have those treated to reduce those over time. So it's my 2 cents worth.
Someone else?
All right, mine might take a few more minutes and, I mean, it's less than 5. Okay. All right, so, my name is Jeff Walker. I'm on, 53760 County Road 384. My wife and I have been on, homeowners on the lake since 2006, so 20 years. Between us, we spent, collectively over all 20 of those years involved in the, North Lake Association Board, and the management of the lake. I'm here tonight to express a strong support for our 10-year SADS special district and briefly explain why it's necessary. When we first moved to North Lake, management efforts were funded entirely by voluntary donations from a small group of property owners. While generous, that approach was never sustainable. Over time, it's become clear that meaningful lake management requires professional consultants, state oversight through Eagle, and most importantly, a fair way to distribute the costs among everyone who benefits from the lake. That's why SADS are established. North Lake is a small, shallow precipitation-fed lake. It's the only source of water, which makes it especially fragile. Without active management, the rapid eutrophication, basically turning into a swamp. In addition, we are dealing with 2 highly invasive plant species, Eurasian milfoil and Kabamba, both of which spread rapidly and are nearly impossible to eradicate completely. Despite those challenges, North Lake has improved dramatically over the past decade. Since 2016, we've conducted scientific studies that were submitted to the state of Michigan Eagle, documenting measurable improvements in water quality. And based on those results, Eagle granted us 2 consecutive 5-year permits to operate a full lake aeration system. Aeration has been a key reason for this success. After a lake-wide milfoil outbreak in 2017 made the lake nearly unnavigable, herbicide costs exceeding $17,000 in a single year. Since installation of aeration, we've been able to reduce our herbicide use about 2/3, which means fewer chemicals going to the lake and less dead plant material settling into the sediment and fueling future growth. Residents have also noticed clear water and increased wildlife, which aligns with the scientific findings. Over the years, the association board has done extensive due diligence, working with eagle vendors, lake scientists, and other lake associations. In fact, talking about 10,000 hours of time, and our own money, to help support this program. These, not just 2 weeks, those tools are aeration, targeted herbicide use, mechanical harvesting, and bioaugmentation. Having access to all four of us, all four allows us to adapt to conditions as they change. However, costs for managing the lake have increased substantially. Our current SAD, $840 per parcel, did not include an inflation component. As a result, we've had to scale back certain tools, including bioaugmentation, even though it enhances the aeration. The proposed SAD is $950 per year per parcel and extends funding 10 years. This is not an expansion of scope. It is about maintaining what has been proven to work and giving the association enough stability to plan responsibly over a long term. This proposal has been reviewed extensively by membership, presented at meetings, and approved by a majority vote. Signed petitions nearly 59% of property owners and 54% of the lake's acreage. North Lake consists of 57 parcels with only about 5 full-time residents. Most homes are second homes, and assistance options for those that feel they need it have been made available to those that on board, none of which ever have, and we've been doing that for years. Finally, I want to stress the urgency. The current SAD expires in 2026. Without approval of the new SAD, there will be no funding in place for this lake management in 2027 and beyond. That would undo years of progress and quickly place the lake and surrounding property values at risk. York Lake, that's all I'm gonna say about that. We respectfully ask the board to approve these, the SAD petition as soon as possible so that we can continue on with an effective lake management program. I would just like to say too earlier that, for the record, every decision that the board ever makes is always run by the membership, and they vote on it at our meetings. Unfortunately, our meetings are not necessarily well attended, despite what we try to do to get people there. And this final decision on whether or not we'll even have aeration will come from Eagle. First of all, if we can have it. And secondly, if we feel based on what Jennifer studies show us this year, she has to do the testing this year, it'll come at the end of the year. Then we can look at that, we can work with Jennifer, who, you know, is a professional in this department. And decide whether or not we are gonna move forward with aeration. The budget is what it is, and we have 3 different budgets because we don't know if we can do aeration for 5 years, 10 years, or at all. So we have one with just 5 years, and then we have one with none at all. We've maintained the budget the same because we feel that aeration has significantly reduced our need for harvesting and herbicides. So we don't know, we never know from year to year. So we want the money available if we have to spend it on other things that we're not gonna use aeration. My understanding is if we don't, we can always have on the next year a refund from the township. So that's what we're looking at. We just want funds available at this point to be able to move forward and continue to have some funds available to manage the lake, because without it, it will reverse itself quickly. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Next,
Oh, I.
Yep.
Gail McLaughlin, my husband and I live at 11242 53rd Street. We had property for 20 years on the lake. Decided to build, we bought in 2006, decided to build in 2011. And I just want to say that I think everybody here, whatever your position is, cares very deeply about our lake, or you wouldn't take the time to be here. And I respect everybody's opinion. That's what we do at our membership meetings, is try and listen to everybody, see where they're coming from. I want to just take a moment to thank you for listening. And I want everyone to know that the aeration system that we decided based on evidence that was provided to us, we decided 10 years ago to go with a full lake aeration system. We are under a legal contract to continue that. I mean, we are in our 9th year of that, and it will end next year. And after that, we're not sure. We don't know what Eagle will tell us that we're able to do, and we don't know about the distribution of funds, what our membership wants. And I think Jeff made the point, it's been a cost, whatever you decide to do, it's the allocation of funds. And if you can compare our lake to like an aquarium, it's like a fishbowl. And if you have fish in there, in an aquarium, you put in bubbles so that they can get the oxygen through their gills. Our lake is kind of the same principle. There's no intake, it's shallow, we have a lot of environmental impacts on it. And the science that I followed was that the bubbles that would go in there, that would be the aeration. And then you add little bugs that eat muck, and that's the biologic. And then you handle with herbicides, the invasive that Jennifer talked about, and then harvesting to get the shoreline stuff out. 4 tools, and it's, we just need the money in place, so we decide, and it's the membership that'll decide. We do that at all our meetings, and we vote on how to allocate this stuff. And I don't know if there are questions, if that makes sense to everybody. And the one thing I hear, and I've heard from a lot of people, it's stuff you really can't understand. And I try and make it as simple to understand by just, if you think of our lake as like a fishbowl, you have bubbles in there, and you've got the bugs that eat the muck, and you have to have herbicides to get rid of the invasive. And the harvesting can clear stuff that it can get to if it removes all the root out. Any questions at all, comments?
Well, yeah, as far as the voting for it, I just think that it should say that in there. Because it does not say that. in
Yep.
there. So it does state it a different way there.
Yeah.
And that's.
The conversation is
That's all,
Oh,
that's.
to us. Yeah.
Just throwing that in there.
Yeah,
I didn't hear what you said.
sorry,
I didn't hear what you said.
oh, the last part, it wasn't
Which
clear. Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Good evening, good afternoon. My name is Laurel Nicholson. Our address is 53928 CR 384, and I'm here to give support to the special assessment district proposed for North Lake. We have been property owners through my family since 1987. The establishment of the SID is critical for funding of lake management practices as the lake membership votes in its meetings. And it does put in place a system for all North Lake landowners to share the costs. The requested SAD amount of $950 per year per parcel equates to $80 a month and enables access to several different lake management tools over the next 10 years as the lake membership votes. This is a small increase from prior years and is commensurate with or even lower than other lake associations in the area. Prior to our current SAD, there were variable and unpredictable fundings, which made it hard to plan and hard to address the lake management needs. And lake management does cost money. So this SAD, this SAD will put in place a mechanism to ensure that our lake has those funds necessary to keep our lake healthy. Our association and our board have reviewed and pursued the advice of experts and scientists, and the landowners are given an opportunity to review those materials and provide input and vote. As has been mentioned, this level of the SAD has been approved by 56% of the owners at the proposed level. And we are running out of time to make sure that a lake management program can be funded and in place for next year. Not approving this special assessment district will put our lake health at additional risk. As has been said, we all care about this lake, love this lake, and want it to be healthy. So we do ask that, my family does ask that we please do vote to approve the North Lake Special Assessment District, because our lake health depends on having the funds available to take steps towards keeping our lake healthy. Thank you very much.
Next. Do we have anyone else?
I'm Niall Wendell, 10485 Country. And I serve as the president of the North Lake Landlord Association. We have, though we have a fragile lake, we work very hard to share all information with our membership. Some of it is frankly too complicated, and we're trying to figure out how to be honest and transparent about that and all the budgets. The big decision that was made almost 10 years ago was to put a full lake aeration system in. We did it through a lease with the current vendor. That lease is up at the end of 10 years. And we can have, and the lease contract will be either he has to take it out or he can leave it out, leave it in. If he leaves it in, it has to be maintained, but we believe we could potentially have a completely different cost structure for that aeration, because essentially our payments the last 10 years have paid for the capital cost. There's obviously still ongoing maintenance costs. There's electricity costs. And we would expect that we would think that'd be something significantly less than what we have and the vendor we're using has already indicated that he'd come down more, but we haven't really pushed hard yet. Because we don't know if he's gonna let us do it, and we don't know if it's the right decision. So as a person that comes out of the world of business, first I wanna know I gotta get the best price possible we want to continue with. Then we'll start the negotiation process to try to make sure we have the most flexibility we can to basically balance these conflicting things at a very fragile lake that has no input of water other than rain. It's shallow and it's very vulnerable to these invasive species and very vulnerable to environmental impacts. I mean, right now, after all the rain we had the last couple weeks, our lake looks wonderful. It's not gonna stay that way. And, you know, the choices of like putting a well in, we've talked to Eagle about it. Very hard to do. The cost of dredging, virtually impossible to get a permit today for our kind of lake and what's in it. So our options are balancing four things, and we expect that balance to change year after year, depending on the condition of the lake. And we communicate that to our membership twice a year in meetings and with handfuls of emails in between. But it's not easy to keep your arms around all this stuff. And, you know, we have a pretty small board that puts a lot of hours in to try to make sure that we can do the best for our fellow property owners and communicate to them.
My name is Nick Curcio. I'm an attorney representing the Lake Association. And I assisted them in putting together the petition and in the proposal here tonight. They've mostly covered the members of the association mostly covered the points that I was going to cover. Essentially, this is a consolidation of the two previous special assessments that covered this lake. It's as mentioned, but essentially a slight increase that includes the cost of inflation and is involved in has built-in flexibility to cover the various contingencies that could change over the next few years in terms of what treatments are involved. The budgets have been put together carefully to ensure that everything's going to come under or not exceed that $950 per year. If there is an overage, if they end up using either getting cost savings through negotiation of contracts or having cheaper means of controlling the lake than is anticipated, as was mentioned, there's a process to refund the special assessment or terminate early. There's flexibility built in with those options. But essentially they put this together for steady $950 per year throughout the 10-year assessment, and are confident that will cover costs. If there's any questions from a legal perspective, I'd be happy to answer those. Okay.
Anyone else?
I can just say that I've lived on the lake since I was 3. I'm 53 now, so 50 years.
Your name and address, please.
Georgina Davidson, 10776 53rd Street.
Yes.
And in the last, I don't know, 15 years, the lake has gotten much better. Like I can actually drive around without having to, stop my boat, going back to clear the motor several times. I mean, last year was a little rough, but the lake was way down in water, which, we don't have anything to do with that. That's God enforced, but the lake health is much better. I can tell you, I can fish off my dock and actually catch fish Where before we could not do that. Yeah, so for me, I think that, you know, what we're doing with the lake is working. You know, maybe it's not seeable because it's all the way at the bottom and you can't see the bottom of the lake. But, you know, as a perspective of swimming in it and boating in it, and it's a lot more usable than it has been in the past.
Anyone else? We're gonna move on to the next one. The next one is where basically we could take a general comment if somebody over here decided that they got, want to comment to something over here, back and forth. Make it a short thing, try to keep your comment really short, and, we'll move this on. Any open back there, go ahead.
My name is Tara Crichton. We live at 10110 53rd Street. I am just here. I want to say thank you to both our board and to Colleen for doing as much research as you guys have done. I will be honest, like, I don't know that much about what's going on. This is not my area of expertise. Reading those emails, not anything against you guys, but sometimes I get a little glossy in the eyes because it's a lot of information. It is. And Colleen has spent hours doing research to just make sure that we felt comfortable in this. And in no way do I want this SAD to not be approved. Coming from our standpoint, my husband and I, we are concerned about how the money is going to be used, and that is partially at fault to our own. We don't come to the annual meeting because it's Memorial Weekend. That's a weekend for our family. Like, it's 2026. My only request is, like, can we have 3 or 4 meetings a year? Can we make them a Zoom meeting? Can we be more attainable for all of our Lake Association guests? I live here year round, so Memorial Weekend, I'm gone. Everybody else comes, but we leave. Like, and that's no offense to all of our Chicago neighbors, but like, that's our weekend to get out of here because it gets busy. So it's really hard for us to be present at those meetings. And I realize I take full responsibility of not wanting to be around and wanting to get out and go on vacation myself. So I think for those of us that have a hard time, you know, getting to the meetings and only having it be once a year, I think that makes it a lot more challenging for us to really hear each other and to really sit down and work together as neighbors, because we are.
That comment's really for their board, not our board.
Yeah,
But
just.
we understand what you're saying. Somebody else?
Better.
Yeah.
Sure, Bob.
I just gotta say what she said about the last 15 years, that it's been better there. Well, her neighbors, the Robertsons. He told me, he called me up and he said he actually destroyed his pontoon boat getting out of there because of the muck last year. Of course,
No,
we
it's
all know,
the water level.
I'm talking. The water level was down. There was no question about it, it was bad. But he says what the big problem he has there with the muck is, he says the neighbors put out these. They push the muck away from their property. He says, and where does the muck go? It goes over by me. And so he says, now I got more muck than I ever did. So a lot of these people where she says she can get her boat in and out, going back and forth. Cause they got the muck blowers that's blowing the muck away from their property. Well, now the muck's going somewhere else. So either it's going out to the center of the lake or it's going to someone else's property. So now someone else is dealing with that muck. And even in front of her property, my property, they're in the middle of the big bog. So boats can't even come in and go around over there because of the bog. It's a huge bog.
Again, that kind of doesn't relate to the weed control here. It's the muck situation and where it's located now. It's flowing.
Yeah.
Somebody else? Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing.
At
7:10. Township Board can deliberate, regarding the proposed North Lake Special Assessment District following the close of public comments. The board will review and consider input received from both supporting and opposing parties. The board may ask questions, seek clarification, and allow a limited rebuttal as necessary to fully evaluate the issues presented. Board have any comments?
Well, if nobody else wants to speak, I'll start. I don't care what lake you live on, how big it is, how shallow it is, how small it is. It's gonna change from year to year. And I don't care how much information you gather and how many reports you have done. They're not gonna be all exactly right. You can't do it. I live on a lake. It's a larger lake. We have a lot more property owners. And we just increased our shed to take care of some of the other issues. Some of them that I believe you're not gonna get rid of ever. I mean, ever. Is milfoil. Even the boats that run around and cut it up, the little fragments fall and they sprout new, so it has to be treated chemically. I don't like chemicals, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. The people are concerned about the amount of money that it takes. It is expensive. It's expensive to live on the lake. Maybe that's a prerequisite, I guess you could call it. It's one of the benefits, I guess, of living on a lake. If you let any lake property go down and don't keep the value of the lake amount, your property value is gonna go down. People talk about droughts and whatever. We have a public access, which on our lake, which creates a lot more problems than a small private lake that doesn't have an access. So you're fortunate in that regard. I couldn't even get my boat off my boat lift last year when the drought. Kids wanted to go skiing, couldn't get it off my boat lift. This year, the lake's high. We've had a lot of rain. My point is, I don't care how much you investigate and all the information you gather, you're never gonna be able to come up with a solid plan that's gonna be concrete on how to fix your lake. It varies. And the money has to come from somewhere. And so I personally think this projection that I have in front of me with the proposed budget over the 10-year period, when you actually look at the cost factor, before you had two different SADs, it was a nightmare for the clerk to handle and Eagles permits and everything else. And it was $840 every 2 years. So that's, $420 every 2 years.
Twice.
I mean,
Twice a year.
twice a year. Easy for me to say. So that's $840 a year. The new proposal is $950. That's $110 a year more, which is basically $9 a month when you do the math. It sounds like a lot, and it is, don't get me wrong. But if you don't take care of your lake, you're not gonna have a lake. It's really that simple. God's not making any more lakes. So if you don't take care of what you have, you're not gonna have it.
I have a question. Jennifer, what other lakes in Van Buren County do you guys manage?
Oh, goodness.
Do you do Great Bear?
What's that?
Do you do Great Bear?
I don't do Great Bear. I do a lot more in the Kalamazoo area, Texas Township, that area.
Okay.
Cause, yeah, in Cass County and also Berrien County.
Okay. They've been able to drop their SAD the last 2 years by $100. So I don't know. I mean, I know all lakes are different.
This particular one, is, it wants to be a bog.
Right.
And obviously the residents on the lake want it to remain a lake, right? So it's I hate to use the term high maintenance, but it is very high maintenance.
So for the $37.40 a quarter that they charge for consulting, is that, do they go out and do the testing
Yes.
every quarter?
Yeah.
Even in the winter, okay. I would feel better if it was a different ratio than 56, 44. You know, it just seems like a lot of people that don't want it. Usually it's, 20% or so, so.
Well, I would just like to say, we didn't get, we don't know if it's a whole 40%, right? Some people just don't respond to anything at all. They don't come to the meetings like this lady back here. She's supportive of it and whatnot, but she doesn't, participate. I don't know if she submitted a petition or not, but we don't know. Maybe there's only 17 people against it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't hear from everybody. So all we know is we have 56% in favor and 17 people not, but we don't know about the rest. Was 20 some odd, 30 some odd other people we don't even know. So, and we do reach out, we call, we try to engage people, but some people are just like, oh, it's going goodbye and I don't want to be bothered. So.
You're also talking about land area, not necessarily parcels of land.
Yeah, I'm talking about people, the number of people involved, because those are attached to the parcels, but I'm talking about people being involved. We don't hear from everybody. There's people that, I just never hear from at all. I never see it meetings and they must be happy with what's going on. I don't hear either way, so.
Well, since everybody else is talking, what I think is so much is now here too. Everyone wants, and I believe everyone in this room wants the lake to be decent. And I agree with what Gary said. Every lake's different. You're gonna have different things, all the paperwork in the world. That lake can change without a doubt. The thing right now is what we have going on in that lake is the biggest thing now is those aggressive weeds that are out there. So. And like I keep telling you, the aerators, they don't do nothing, and I'll stick to that till the day I die, because they don't. But the problem is that though, I think we need competitive bids to go out now and get different bids on different people to come in and say, hey, this is what I think you should do. We got different things going on here now to lower the cost, or maybe that cost is what it's gotta be.
We do it all the time, Bob. We do it all the time.
So you guys, okay, so it's the board's turn now to ask questions. So you guys do have, because our policy, our procedure for purchasing is we have 3 bids. So you guys have documentation where you've
Yeah,
gotten 3 bids for everything.
everything's a bit per year for us. The aeration, of course, is a 5-year deal. We can't take that every year.
Right,
And we've looked into that. We've contacted other people. It's about anywhere between $300,000 to $500,000 to put in a new system. There's just no way we can barely come up with this. Of course, we looked into dredge and all that too, but so the only thing we don't take out every year is that, okay? Now, as far as Jennifer, I've even tried at Michigan Lakes and Streams Association meetings, which I go to. I try to go every year. I can't go this year, unfortunately, but I've been the last 2 years. I've even gone to try and find other consultants. I've talked to them about our lake. I've given them my phone number. Let's get together. I don't hear anything back from them. None of them are in state, first of all. It's very hard to find people like that. I've only been able to find a couple of people that are separated from the companies that are also providing you. They're managing your lake, but they're also providing all of the services. For an example, I think you guys use PLM.
Correct.
That's another example. Well, do they take all their herbicides to bid every year? Do they take all their harvesting to bid? No, they don't. It's their company doing it, okay? So we do spend a lot of time on it. And even as much so like Jennifer, well, maybe there's somebody better. I don't know. So every year we go, some board member goes. Several of us usually go, and we try to go through the entire, is a great thing, you guys. If anybody is coming up in Muskegon here in a few weeks, it's a wonderful thing if somebody's on the lake bed. Because everything's there, the tools are there, and it's always the same 4 tools really that you have. There's not that much more for lake that's not cost prohibitive. But yes, we do that all the time, every year.
To your point, and to maybe give a little bit more input on your point. When I was president of our association, I tried to get 3 or 4 different quotes, to see what the cost would be.
Yeah.
1 of 2 things happened. either the people didn't answer.
Right.
I checked with 4 different companies, one responded. One responded that was very, very high because they didn't want to come up,
Right.
they didn't want to bother with
Yeah,
it.
I've had that, yeah.
You know, they just outpriced themselves and they knew it. But trying to get competitive quotes is like trying to move this building.
Alrighty, we have another meeting. We have to,
Yeah.
okay.
Pardon?
We have another meeting.
Yes, I know. Jason, do you have anything to add?
I just had a quick clarification question. I think, I don't remember who spoke to this, but I heard mention of the lake membership votes on things. I'm not familiar with the bylaws, but I guess I wanted to clarify. Does the board make all the decisions on what treatment plans to pursue, or is it open to the entire lake membership to vote on that?
Let me answer that.
It's a quick answer, though. It doesn't.
Quick answer is we try to present options at every meeting about the things we do, trade-offs that we have learned. If you have a point of view based on the stuff, but we take the input from membership and they actually vote and have a motion in our minutes approving the plan every year.
Yeah.
So because we do want to make sure our membership, which is all the property owners, are highly engaged. We can make them in what we're doing. That's very important to all of us that volunteer on this board.
Yeah.
And we worked very hard at that. And I actually went out, counted, in the last year, our board has sent out over 80 emails to the membership about this whole process. So,
Which some people don't like.
right, but I think, and it's difficult. I mean, it's give you a
No,
sense
I know.
of the quantity of stuff that we're trying to do, because we do hear about it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the dynamics. I also live on a lake. We do not have a lake association. We do not have a SAD. I'm sympathetic to all the viewpoints that I've heard. I too, Mary, was gonna ask about the 56%, like, do we know, are there actually 44 in opposition? But I guess based on everything I'm hearing, I feel like there's most of the issues don't seem like there's a lot of daylight between them. They seem solvable. I mean, it's communication issues, it's disclosure issues, it's ultimately it boils down to you have to trust your board. And if you don't trust your board, then you have to get a new board. I mean, that's how it works up here too. So, I mean, I didn't hear many people saying, this is a bad idea to treat our lake. We shouldn't have to pay. I hear a lot of things that seem like they're solvable if there's better partnership between the board and the members. So that's all I wanted to say.
Jason, I have a question, and I know we're not on public, but you made a point, and this is something that I'm not clear on. Is the SAD determined by the township based on the acreage of ownership or the amount of owners on the lake? So let's say we've got, let's just do even number, 50 owners. Or is the determination of a SAD is approved by the township determined on
Acres.
acreage? It's on
Yeah.
acreage. So if I own 40 acres, I have a larger say than
Correct.
you who have 1 acre, correct?
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, then they're there. And again, then in what Niall just pointed out, could you ask, to clarify how things were voted on? Again, we don't get a lot of people come to meetings. We've been attending ourselves, you know, I mean. So if something is proposed at that meeting and there's, let's again, even numbers, 50 people in attendance, you're not getting a complete 100% vote. So that,
Yeah.
I just wanna I would just want you to understand that I see that different unless somebody can explain it to me. That's where I wanted to know if it was acreage or property owner. So you're telling me acreage. Okay.
Any board is never in a good position to make a decision when there isn't much participation from its membership. That happens up here all the time. We have to make big decisions and there's 3 people in a meeting sometimes, so. I encourage all the lake residents to participate as much as you can, and
We have 200 people, 200 people. And when we have our lake association meetings, maybe 50 to 60 show up.
1/4. That's good.
Okay.
Well, we've heard a lot. We've heard both sides. I know the assessment has been going on for 10 years. You're stopping it is probably not an option. And I think you just have to work with your board to try to get the right thing done through your professionals that said that they need to be done. I think there's a lot of options still out there, and I sound like you're looking at them. And you have to make the best decision. And this isn't the end of it. We still have one more public hearing that has to be done. It's when we do the assessment roll, you're gonna be given a notice to, if you wanna appeal what the assessment is, and can come in and tell us why. Or how it doesn't benefit your property, et cetera, for that. So that will be the next thing. We'll approve doing that. If we pass this at our next meeting, we're gonna talk about this and vote on it. And then if we vote on it to go ahead with it, then I'll be directed to generate another resolution with another public hearing for that last final hearing. Okay? With that, I think we've had enough public comment, and we're gonna adjourn at 7:27.
Thank you, everyone.
Take five.
We can have 5, we need 5. Need 10? 20. You're my age, you need more. And then you never know what's gonna happen.
I'll let you know what your job. Thanks.
So we'll be taking a vote tonight for the vote on what today? Or is it?
We're gonna be taking a vote tonight to go forward to the next public hearing.
Okay. Just want to know
Look
if
at our evidence and based on that. I think that you can't stop. I mean, you can't stop.
Thank you for this. Yeah, I mean, I just wish I could hire a full-time bookkeeper, writer, record keeper.
You can't do that. I mean, I think anyone that's been on negotiation, Shadow Lake, it's a job. Not easy, not fun. Got a lot of people complaining, right, Gary? All the time.
Yep. Okay, so we don't need to stay around for the rest of the meeting then?
Huh?
You, do you need to stay
You're
around?
more welcome to stay around, and, but it's a formality that we'll go through and we'll determine where we
Want to
go.
go home, yeah, okay.
Huh?
That, I suspect most people want to,
Yeah, they probably, they've been hurt. I mean, we.
thank you for doing this for us. Thank you for hearing. Thank you all.
Yep, you're welcome.
Appreciate it, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Gary's a very, I think, but they still got a year.
We haven't had a lot of things.
I mean, you left the liquor association. Take care of it.
Yeah.
But don't they have something that how they do it?
Mary.
Station.
Yeah.
I get humidity sensor issues at least once a day now.
Yeah, well, I got low temperature the other day and I went down and it was 58 degrees, which isn't a big deal.
I don't know if the heater's kicking on, Ken.
I don't think you do.
I don't think the heater's kicking on again. I was there most of the afternoon yesterday. I emailed you back. I didn't notice that you had emailed me. But I flicked it and did the same thing I was doing when it wasn't working. And like I could hear in the controller it do something, but the well pump, because we were washing the floors and the walls, trying to scrub the walls. I need something way stronger than green machine or whatever the hell I was using. Worked on the floors though.
So do you think we should put something on the agenda to, so that, well, we're not gonna need a heater now.
Well, we're not gonna get a big freeze, but we do need to do something.
We should replace it if we need to.
Some,
I think you're probably gonna have to just replace it on the second. You don't need a second, you're done.
You know, the problem is that we do use things like heater. It's good to have a second heater there ready to go.
You should have a second.
Yeah,
so, but here's the thing.
our plant, I always had problems when I got the new one, not failing.
We're considering moving over. That's been a thought that we've thrown at the wall, the deputy being sent over to station.
Yeah, sure.
We're gonna need, we have nothing in the office as far as temp control. No heating, no cooling. So I don't know if we get like one of those big dog, two, zone mini splits.
Mini split?
Senville makes one that's good down to -30 degrees. And I'm pretty sure it's less than one of those heaters. So I mean, if we put them low enough, technically, then they operate at higher BTUs than a lot of those heaters do. I don't know. It's something to think about.
Yeah.
That's what we used on the buildings out at Sunnybrook. So.
Since we're starting our meeting, shall we extend past the 9 o'clock review?
Anything that we can help you? Anything more?
I mean, I feel like a lot of it should be quick. The Vesper thing is gonna be interesting. Buckle up. We can't kick the Vesper thing up, like, it's at the end. And if we get to the end of our meeting and say we're done and we don't cover that, that would be not good. So I guess maybe when we get to 9 o'clock, just say, hey, if we're not through the important stuff, we need to extend.
Why don't you move the Vesper thing up the after the new place?
Well, it might also sidetrack stuff. I don't know.
I don't think anything's really important on that.
I don't see too much important on.
We gotta get the moratorium done.
Let's just go through it, and when we get close to 9, if we're not tracking well, we can extend the meeting.
We've always already had it, the extended meeting.
Yeah.
But I.
Let's see what we can do.
All night.
I'm ready to roll.
Manager letter shouldn't take long, just.
I think we can zip on this thing.
Well, let's try zipping through things. Hey, let's call the meeting back to order. Do we have a treasurer? No treasurer? Okay, we're gonna have to cut the noise.
Are you still there? Sorry. Break.
Or back on?
Yep, I think she's there.
Is Mary, can she,
Yep, she's.
well, I know she can hear us, but like, hey Laura, can you speak so I can
I'm-
hear you?
Yep, can you hear me okay?
Okay, you're coming through the owl, I didn't know.
You're coming through the owl, so that's.
All right.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're
I'm-
gonna start the meeting. We're gonna start the meeting at 7:36. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Gary. Mary. Ken is here. Jason.
Here,
Mara, absent. Yes. Approval of the agenda. Is there anything we need to add, subtract, approve as written?
I just asked, since we're so short on time, that stuff that's really just discussion, that we just kind of wrap it up as quick as possible and discuss it maybe next time, postpone it.
Agreed.
What do we just postpone?
Anything that's just discussion,
Okay,
if we don't have to vote on it, don't have to take the time.
is that a motion?
Yes, that's a motion.
Second.
We got a motion by Mary, second by Gary. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Ayes carry. Public comment on agenda items. This should be just public comments, not on the agenda. Karen,
Oh, I'm sorry. I sent in my comments.
you sent in a very nice, comment.
Look at, she's keeping us on task.
Okay, anyone else? Kate?
I have an email from Jeff Sobel that I received today that I can submit to public comment. He was just asking for a status on the short-term resolution regulation, whether there was a draft. Want it for the minute? And I replied.
Any other public comment? Mario?
All right, folks, there are clearly conflicting interpretations right now. And there has been already legal review indicating that short-term rentals are not permitted under current ordinance. While the private counsel is arguing the opposite. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Sorry, who's arguing the opposite?
The private counsel? That is going to be discussed later in the agenda.
Consent agenda of the special board meeting minutes of March 17th, 2026. Do we have any comments on this?
I looked them over. I think they're fine.
Anyone else?
Okay.
The regular board meeting of the 17th of March. Any comments? Correction?
I do have a correction I'd like to make. Under agenda item I4, discussion of short-term rentals. I think Kara did a good job capturing the general spirit of this discussion, but I in particular would like to add to my portion that was attributed to me some more specificity of my comments. So I would like to add the following statement, because this is what I stated in the meeting, but it wasn't really reflected in the minutes. In addition to what was said or written in the minutes that I stated, I would like it to read, he, being me, stated for public record that the board had not made any decisions regarding short-term rentals, as it was still gathering information during the adopted moratorium. Furthermore, he, again being me, expressed concern that the planning commission was taking action on the matter inconsistent with the board direction by voting on a resolution to ban STRs before the board had completed its process, which is what I stated at the meeting. So I just want that reflected under my comments. So If there's no other additions to the minutes, I would be prepared to make a motion to approve the minutes with that addition.
To approve the consent agenda or the whole thing? Do we do them all separately?
Well, we should get all of them and do it all at once, but adding that, I don't see a problem.
Are you're just asking for comments on the individual items before we vote on the consent? Okay, sorry. That's my comments.
Accounts payable, any, board changes, correction? Payroll summary,
It's good.
bank account balances,
I had a couple of the accounts payable, but those have been resolved, so I'm good.
okay, Jason, I think here's where you can do your motion to include the, approving of the consent agenda, including a correction to the regular meeting of March 17th, 2026.
Motion sounds good. I'll make that motion.
Can you get a second?
I'll second.
This is money. Roll call, Gary,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Kenzie, yes. Jason?
Yes.
Yes. Is Diane Ragosi here from
I don't see her.
No.
Senior Services? Brett, you're up. Road Commission,
Thank you.
Manager, Director.
A little disappointed, not everybody wanted to hang around here about roads, so. This is about the
Could have
lake,
snuck that in the work part.
but they gotta drive the road to get there, right?
That's right.
So,
Well, you know, probably can use some paving now for that mock.
there you go, yeah. Here's some maps, if anybody wants them afterwards of the county and, my business cards here, if you need to get a hold of me, so. My name is Brett Witkowski, I'm Director of Road Commission, I'm trying to make sure I get out to all 18 townships at least once a year. Meet with all supervisors one-on-one. Ken and I met last week, just to kind of go over what's going on in the county outside of the township, because and I get it, you're elected to look out for the township. I'm appointed by Commissioner Burleson back there and 4 others to look out what's best for the county, which sometimes can pit one township against the other by local terms, but not from our terms. It's trying to fit the pieces and the puzzle together. And that'll take about 5-10 minutes. I'm happy to answer questions if the board would allow. Seal coating, so if you see us out there putting rocks on the road and putting the liquid asphalt, that's called seal coat and fog sealing. We do the most or second most miles of roads in the state. We can pretty much get around the county now about every 10 years. We're on pace to do about 150 miles this year. Normally, there's two systems of which fall under the road commission. One is the local system, and the township has a millage, and they support that and do work on that for improvements. We pay for all the plowing and patching the holes and all that stuff, but to improve them, that's what the township has for their road millage, to try and improve those. Back in the day before the Great Depression, townships plowed, did all their own stuff. After the Great Depression, the state switched it to the road commission. We've been around as of next Tuesday, 110 years in Van Buren County. Roads that are CR, those are county roads. Why are some roads county and why are local? I have no clue. We cannot figure that out. It's just how it was set up in 1895, and that's just the way it's been. So we will seal coat about 74 county road miles around the county, including some in Geneva, or excuse me, Columbia. And then I know Columbia, I got your worksheets, you're doing quite a bit. I think 300,000 sound about right, of seal coating. And it was quite a few miles. If you had to rebuild those miles, it would be $3 million. So the alternative is you seal coat to preserve them. And when you seal coat a road, you can get an extra 8 to 10 years off that road. And so thanks to Ken and your board and your community, you've been very good and aggressive the last number of years to get your roads and into quality shape. So we definitely appreciate that. Roadside mowing, you wouldn't think it's a big deal, but we have a lot of miles to mow. We have to mow 2,600 miles of roads, of which we do it 2 times. When I came in, we had contracted it out. We were spending $250,000 a year just to get the grass mowed on the side of the roads. We have since, with board approval, bought tractors and brought it in the house. The complaints that we get have dropped 41%. We upscaled our tractors this year, moved our older tractors to what's called boom mowing, so it's like a big arm that you see cutting down the brush and all that. And so we went from 500 RPMs to 1,000 RPMs on those mowers. And the company we had did a great job, but they were paid by the mile, so they went as fast as they could. And they would go around trees that kept growing. And so ours will cut the trees down up to 4 to 6 inches. And so we've gotten deeper cuts and it looks good. The goal is to get around the county 3 times, and we are getting ready probably to start the first week of May, because with all the rain we've had, as you know, and we got a little cold spell here, but it's popping right back up. So they've been out checking. We mow about 4 to 6 inches. So that's important. Solar signs, you'll see those around different spots in the county. It's up to each township if they think they need them. Bangor has put a few in. We've been putting them in around schools in no zones, flashing solar signs to let people know you better slow down. Sheriff's Department, I know, loves it because it's consistent. We work with the school district on their days that they're in session for each semester. We program it, we can track them. We got 25 of those out throughout the county. Tomorrow we have a big meeting with Manawan schools. As you know, it's been growing like crazy. And there's really only 2 ways to get to Manawan school, either through a village or on 657. So that area, plus a lot of young distracted drivers, we've got some suggestions for them. If you follow state politics, last Governor Whitmer, when she came in office, wanted to fix roads. Funding really never got solved. They did pass in October road funding package. The challenge was MDOT, which handles the road funding, didn't have the software to handle the changes the state made. And you can't fault MDOT, because until they make their final decision, why waste money on software that you know can't handle it? And so because of that, our revenue the first 4 months after the road funding package went through was down 840-some thousand. We get about 13 million a year. Last month it did go back up 7%, but before that, and Commissioner Burleson and board knows I gave him an update, we were up 15 to 19% for 4 months. Long term, it's a good thing. And so the gas tax at the pump, what you pay really hasn't changed. It's gone from a flat tax that now just goes for roads, whereas before it was based off of sales tax, of which a portion went to schools and other things. So now it just goes to roads. So that's why when it switched on January 1st, it didn't change. So long term, that'll be a good thing. We still are, if you were to compare income to the rate of inflation since 2020, we still though are behind revenue, $10.5 million. It'll take us probably to 2030, which is about when I leave, to break even. So, but once we get there, we'll get there. The beauty of our organization with board blessings and our staff, everything that's coming in extra is going towards roads. It's not going to build new facilities. It's not going to, you know, what we buy in equipment is what we buy in equipment now. What we fix with our facilities is what we fix now. It'll all be for county roads. And then with the local millages and the countywide millage, hopefully we can start catching up. Some counties like Berrien County, which is west of us, they had to borrow $2 million in January to make their payroll because they did not anticipate, they did not have enough fund balance to survive. Our board policy is very simple. If it gets above 25% fund balance, which means we could go 4 months with no income, 3 months with no income, and still make payroll. If it gets above that, then I need our board, along with you, expect it to be put on roads, not to hoard. If it gets below 20, then we gotta pull back a little bit. So we're right around there, at the point. Are gonna keep fixing up all of our facilities. A couple years ago, 3 years ago, when I came in, we had the board had given permission to build a new facility if they could keep the bond payment equal to the bond payment they had that was expiring, which was $400,000 a year. Time all the bids came in, it was 1.2 million. And so I remember it was like first month I was here. It was a first month I was here was sad, obviously. The day before I came in, we had a worker killed. And then dealing with staff, dealing with that, of which tomorrow's work zone day across the state of Michigan. You'll see our staff, if you see them out, all wearing orange. And remember Renee and others who have been killed, like in Berrien County. And then dealt with this project, and the board was very supportive and made the right choice. We're not building, let's fix up what we've got. And if you look at all our facilities, they are now in good shape. We put roofs on all of them, fixed all those roofs. Some are back to 13 years ago. The Bloomingdale garage, if you look, especially the Bloomingdale and the Western garage, they look a lot better. This year, the biggest thing we have to do is replace our parking lot back in the back where we have about 100 pieces of equipment. And that's just replace parking lots, $389,000. So that'll take up most of our money, but like most things, when you remodel your house, you think, well, I can get by for this much. Well, take that and triple it, and that's probably where we're in the same boat with you. Some major projects going on. These are county roads. We have a lot of local township projects going on. County Road 687 out of the city of Hartford to going towards Bangor. That might be one of the worst roads in the county. $1.7 million project. We got a grant for $900,000. Kalamazoo Street in South Haven, we got a grant for 108. We were one of 5 communities in the state picked by the governor for that in 2024. You'll kind of find a theme here. I'm pretty aggressive going after money. 352 in Keebler Township, that is all on coming out of the road millage that we have. County Road 653 to Red Arrow 48. That's in Antwerp Township, 1.2 million. And we got a grant for 400,000. Because projects are coming a little bit less, we're gonna add 2 projects. One is County Road 365 come out of Village of Lawrence to 94. And then County Road 380 in South Haven Township. The $600,000 project, we got a grant for 475,000. So we got $2.5 million of grants coming in for these projects this year. One of the things that I've been very aggressive at, our engineers have done a very good job, and we're fortunate. We have 4 engineers. We don't hire hardly anything out. The only thing we have to hire out is to build a bridge. And even one of our guys can take it most of the way. And the preceding 10 or 15 years, and Commissioner Burleson, you have a better idea than I do. Road Commission got no funding to replace any bridges in the state. I think I'm pretty correct there. And then 2 years ago, we were one of 3 bridges improved in the entire state, $3.5 million project, a $3.5 million grant. We got to put in 200,000-300,000, and so does Waverly. I think it's on 40th Street over there.
Yep.
And then, like in a lot of things, if everything's equal, it's who you know. And so they opened up bridge funding. We didn't get the first part last year. They had a second meeting, they got a little extra money, and we got money for a bridge in Pine Grove. No, not Pine Grove, Geneva Township. And then we're going after another one. So, those bridge grants are probably close to $5 million. And like I said, there aren't a lot of bridges getting rebuilt in the state of Michigan. So the other bridge that we've got stuck with, 657 in Antwerp, that road is like a landing strip. People fly down there. But there's a bridge that's narrow, and to qualify for federal funding, it has to be 20 feet long. This bridge is 19 feet 8 inches. And we can't find a tape measure to make it 20. So we're gonna have to eat $750,000. We could repair for about $500,000, but I don't wanna leave whoever takes over for me a narrow bridge, it just got repaired, it needs to get replaced. So the new bridge will be wider, it'll be longer. I did go testify from the State House Appropriations last Wednesday to try to get $800,000 grant to fix that bridge, so hopefully we can do it. If we can't, we still have the funds to take care of it. As you heard me talk about earlier, seal coat and fog seal is a big project. MDOT does it, all 83 counties do it, a lot of cities do it, bigger cities. We do it a lot for most of the cities and villages in the county, they contract with us. What's crazy is there is not a uniform process to determine what's the best way of doing something that is so commonly used. We have a district of 12 different counties. I asked a question, I got 10 different answers on how you do the exact same thing. So our association, which is called County Road Association, got a grant from the state, and I convinced the other counties to study what is best practice. Now, what's different, what goes on UP will be different down here. But our district and our area, the southern part of Michigan, should be consistent on what we do. When it's put on all the time. So right now, our finance director, Lenny Ryder, she's on the committee. It's with the universities for bids. It's out for RFP, Michigan State, Michigan Tech, Michigan, all those universities are gonna study that. So I'm looking forward to getting that back. Most likely something that we can use in 2028. Double seal coating gravel roads now. And it's a process of taking a gravel road and turns into pavement. It usually has to be a local road because it can't be heavily traveled, it needs to be in a dry area. We're doing actually 6 miles of it this year. Geneva Township's doing 4 and Bangor Township's doing 2. So if you're ever interested, and Ken and I talked about that, it's up to each township if they want or not. There's a cost to it, but it is a good way of taking a gravel road and then making it to look like pavement. We've got 7 employees getting ready to retire at any time, or they can retire at any time. One gentleman's been there 42 years, one gentleman 47 years. And we have actually him filling a pothole, I think the same one, 1979. And then when he had his 45th anniversary with us, so because of that, because our plow trucks cost $300,000 or $400,000, we hired 4 new drivers because they're good people. We hired what's called apprentice, which is usually young people who want to get into it, but don't have the CDL. And it's hard unless you have access to a truck and training. I don't know how you get your CDL. We had one gentleman just went through it and passed. It was great. So we've got 6 new people coming on that way. And then we have 2 new mechanics. So we're in position. So when they retire, we've got people who can hop in the truck and go. Because when we get a snow, you're not gonna care that we are short 3 drivers. You're just gonna wanna know why are we not plowed. And we have 37 plow routes. They all pretty much have their own plow routes and works out really good. Just to give you an idea, January was tough on us. We did plow 28 of 31 days out there. And again, that's plowing 1,300 miles both ways. Whether traffic has 20 cars on it or 5,000. And costs us around $64,000 to plow a day. You count fuel. If you have the equipment, the state does, when you have like fire department, they have equipment rental charges. So if a truck runs for 2 hours, you gotta charge $200, I'm just picking a figure, $200 plus fuel, plus salt and all those things. And we changed, little cities can just run straight salt. We can't afford it. So we've had where it was 5 parts sand, 1 part salt. And pretty much since Commissioner Burrows, we started talking about it, I think early in the winter. What would it take to improve that? And we ran all the numbers. And so we switched to a 2 part sand to 1 part salt. And it made a big difference on the roads. And it cost an extra $100,000, $150 a year, but it was worth it because it saves us having to go out less on that. Just to give you an idea, you know, we're not immune to the fuel costs, as you can imagine. Our costs right now are up 28%. First 3 months, our fuel bills have averaged $19,000. At our garages, 80% is diesel. Busiest roads in the township, and we go around and study them in the summer every 3 to 4 years. County Road 388, 3,600 cars a day. 384 is 1,800. 681 is 1,800. 215 is 1,500. County Road 380 is 800. Your least busiest roads, 52nd Street, 79 cars a day. And 14th Avenue has 60. But we still have to plow and take care of them, whether they get 60 or they get 3,600. They have to get the same treatment. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm taking up my public comment times 12 because I come once a year. So I'm happy to answer any of your questions if the board allows, or any questions from the board.
No, the only comment I have is about the mowing.
Mm-hmm.
Well received, because some of these corners you get up to and you can't see it, so you guys are doing a nice job. Thank
Thanks.
you.
And you are the eyes of us. If you see something, we have a system called Click Fix. You can do it 24/7. Just put in what you're seeing or what your name, and we'll get back to you. Because for us to see 1,300 miles of road every day, it's just not gonna happen. Give you an example, Colbert Township, a guy calls me Thursday, I think, or Friday. He says, I think you got to get a washout, from all the rain. We go over there, yep, we had to close her down. Because it was washing out. Culvert well, there's a leak somewhere in the culvert. Going into it. And so, we appreciate, and actually the bridge that we had to rebuild. Our guy saw an issue one day just driving it, and a resident saw the same thing the following day. So we appreciate anytime people call and say, hey, can you get to it? We have a response rate, we have our own standards of 95%. We're usually between 93 and 98% getting back to people within so many hours and letting them know what we found. Doesn't mean we're able to fix it right then, but that we checked it out, and here's the plan, or here's what we can or cannot do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
I'll stay to the end of the meeting if you have any questions. Thank you.
John,
I don't have that. Hello, everybody. March, we had 35 calls. 2 very busy days. Both days had 5 calls. The 28th and 29th, I was on calls for about 15 hours straight. To date, we have 121 calls. Do you want an update on what's going on? I did take over as the full-time fire chief on the 1st, technically the 6th, but I went through all our medical supplies, I went through bags, we actually made the new grass rig that the township got us. That is my backup medical rig now. I actually have that here, that's parked out there. New emblems on it, it's tagged out, it's certified by the state as a second out for medical, so. Kind of just going along with that philosophy of everything can be a Swiss Army knife if you make it a Swiss Army knife, so. Both trucks that are medically certified have multiple uses, including fire. And medical, we have backboards in both, so if something's very bad, I can need an ambulance, we're not supposed to transport them. I've been cleaning the stations.
Yay.
If you went over to Station 1, I mean. I don't know if it's been cleaned since '99. Personally, I'm still, my ADD. There's some dirt streaks on the floor. I realized that, I don't know what the actual name of it, the green, what is the mean, is it mean green or?
Mr.
The degreaser, the degreaser, it works on floors, but it doesn't work to remove diesel soot from the walls very well. And I didn't want to go too abrasive because they are painted metal, so it's like, okay, well, small spot and it changed a little bit. It's definitely a different color than it was, but. As far as things going on since. 1 has been put back into service, 22 is back in service, 22 has pumped its pump recertification. It has done live fire exercises. I'm actually taking it out again Thursday to continue that at the tech center. We've had an inspector come to both buildings. I'm working with Dixie on that to get some things straightened out at both. We got recommendations for both. I didn't finish that. You should get that tomorrow morning, Casey, I'm sorry. I did start that today, but, the gear washer is the only thing that I kind of have a worry about currently. And possibly the heater. I'm not sure if the heater's malfunctioning or if it's user error. So I'll mess around with that tomorrow. But the gear washer, it's not that it's not washing things, it's a flow issue. It's not turning off. So if I don't come back in 45 minutes, it'll flood out the room. It's not that it went into that, it's not that it went into the filtration system and pumped out of there. Witnessed what happened. I just sat there after 45 minutes and I watched it just flush water out. So the water isn't stopping inside the machine, it's just, it continues flowing through. So I've been turning off the water after I wash clothes or bunker gear. So, something that we're dealing with. So,
Well, good news is the insurance company is gonna pay the full bill.
yeah, I was very happy to see things were getting paid for by the insurance company. That was
Yep.
a big worry on my part, so.
Checks in the mail, they said.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're staying steady. We're at a kick of about a holiday at this point, but obviously some days catching up for others. So,
2770, have you had any problems since we put the grounds on them?
so just like, I mean, just like the original complaint was, it wasn't something, it's not something that can be replicated. So as of currently, it hasn't malfunctioned. But I didn't have one of those 3:30 in the morning, it's 18 below zero fires where one of the last times that it wouldn't kick on the pump.
That's the one that Spencer went through and fixed the ground wires and stuff on?
So,
Yes.
yes, they found that there was a couple of ground wires, like the tech accidentally found it. He bumped one of the grounds and all the lights lit up like a Christmas tree, he said. He goes, I thought it was a UFO. All of a sudden, everything's blinking and, I did go through the insurance claim for 70. I have a couple of files for that at the station. And the damage from the accident in 2014, the bolts that sheared off when they hit the pavement did disconnect the main harness. So, I couldn't find a diagram of where that happened. I was trying to just give more of, if we have someone that has to get back into it, hey, this is probably the problem area. So I mean, unfortunately, they would have to lift the cab to probably see where it got doctored at, is my assumption. That was where the main damage was. So the shocks went up into the compartment.
Well, at least there's a starting point.
So, yeah, but I went through the work through and whatnot, and I couldn't find notes on where that was or how they were with it, so. But no, up to this moment, nothing has happened negative with the truck, luckily, so.
Okay, thanks.
That's good.
We
good
had,
to be
the 29th. Yeah, the 29th, 70 pump fine. It was the first engine on scene. So, yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you.
Well, we got a report from the assessor, we got reports from, the planning, commission. And the book, emergency services. Don't have any items for that. Unfinished business is North Lake Special Assessment District. We need to consider the North Lake Special Assessment District, including the status, potential continuation or reestablishment, board discussion and possible action to approve the establishment or renewal of the North Lake Special Assessment District. After hearing everything that I've heard today and realizing that you just can't stop this, I think that we probably need to rely on the North Lake Association for all the work that they do to put together a special assessment district with having professional people in that, and go ahead and approve it and rely on them for after, I guess you said aeration ends in a year that your contract's out and you'll be reevaluating that.
In our 9th year of it, we're on the hook.
Yeah.
Through all of this year, I think that expires, the contract expires March 31st of 2027.
So we don't have any funds at this moment anyway for it, and then our permit ends in August from Eagle. So, but timing wise, basically everything's ending at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the special assessment district for next year. And then we, the permit doesn't end till, the next year, but we can, change things if we want at the end of this year.
Laura,
I
you have a
just-
question?
Hey, Ken, this is Laura. Could I jump in with a question? Can you hear me? Is the township paying the contractor directly? Is that the plan?
Yes, we pay their bill. They
Yeah.
submit the
They submit
bills.
the
and then
bills, we pay it.
And you pay the bill directly to the service provider?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. And then just procedurally, if the board agrees to move forward, what we'll do is put together a resolution for the next meeting. That's that resolution of determination that approves those plans and then sets a second public hearing on a proposed special assessment rule.
Correct.
Good.
Perfect.
Laura, is a 10-year, is that a normal time for a SAD, for a lake SAD? It just seems like a long time. Like,
I
know
mean,
maybe I just don't last that long.
I thought the resolution only had 5 years of an estimate. Was I wrong about that?
I think this one was
Right.
10,
10.
wasn't it?
It had 10.
They're asking for 10.
If you can accurately know the cost, if it's going to be locked in, so you know the cost of the improvement, then I don't think you're prohibited from doing that. I think often we see them at 3 or 5 years because that's how long the companies will lock in the price.
They've locked their prices in with us.
We have bids for the 10-year period.
Okay.
And if I can also jump in, there was a public comment about Part 309, and I just wanted to clarify that this isn't a Part 309 project. This is not the establishment of a lake improvement board. It's an Act 188 special assessment. So I know when people are reading things, there might be things out there related to a lake improvement board special assessment, and that's not the statute that this is under.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Yep.
For discussion, I mean, the only thing I heard was the communication thing, and that's the problem everywhere, all
It
the
seems to
time.
be that way.
Yeah.
It's hard best, but it's hard to. 57 different homeowners, it's hard to communicate to everybody in an effective way.
Right.
Gary, anything?
Nope.
Jason?
So should we have Laura write the resolution?
Pardon?
Should Laura work on the resolution for next?
Yeah, Laura, if you could,
Well,
yeah,
I think first we have to
Yeah.
approve the special assessment district and then authorize her to make our next
Right.
final
Okay,
submit. Is that right, Laura?
Yeah, I mean, the resolution is going to be the formal approval, but I think it's a motion to move forward with putting together that resolution.
What about approving this ad at this point?
You're not approving, so the next resolution in the process will do that part of it, but we should do that by resolution, not by motion. So you're authorizing me to prepare a resolution number 2, which approves the establishment of the district, approves the estimate of costs, the description of the work that's going to be done, and then we'll set the second public hearing from there.
I'll make that resolution.
Motion?
Motion, I'll make that motion.
Great.
Mary made a motion,
Whatever Laura said, let's,
whatever Laura stated.
yep.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Gary seconded. This is not a money thing, so we just need a roll call, right?
Correct.
Laura, do we need a roll call or a regular vote?
Oh, you don't have to do a roll call, no.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, carried.
Thank you, Laura.
J2 is the extension of. What was that?
Came across your phone. Oh, that's
Oh,
crazy.
maybe I echoed. Sorry, I'll mute myself.
Next one is the extension of the short-term rental
Moratorium.
Damn.
I know, it's a long night.
It doesn't expire on expires on May 30th.
We can also
Do
put
we need Laura
together,
to go ahead and put that extension together.
I only comment I have is that I think that we need to extend this longer than the first term. And reason being because there's a lot of, I would recommend, my thought process is extend this moratorium for 12 months. And the reason being is because we have a lot of issues. Some of them have to do with shared properties and easements and that kind of thing, that we have to pull all this together and make sure that we have all our ducks in a row for the right process, for the right type of STR that's being regulated, I guess.
I've got to go back to what you adopted to see, because often we limit the extension to 6 months by resolution. So I'm just pulling it up here.
Well, I think you're right that we said we could extend it, and that was from the original, that was a 6-month moratorium.
She's saying it might be written in
Oh.
the resolution that we can only extend.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yep, I'm just
So-
double checking. That's how we always write them, so.
The board can make a decision anytime in that. It doesn't,
Mhm.
for clarification, this is just,
Yes, absolutely. So the extension. Oh, actually, actually it says may by resolution, if this is this is my draft in my file, may by resolution extend the moratorium as appropriate to allow sufficient time to complete its ordinance.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
Yeah,
Can we get a motion to have, Laura, extend our short-term memorandum for 12 more months?
prepare a resolution to extend the
Yeah,
moratorium.
resolution.
Moratorium, yeah.
Yeah. You make that motion, Gary?
I make it.
Get a second?
I'll second.
That's just a roll call too, or
Yep.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nice carried.
Do you need anything else from us right now, Laura, or does that give you the,
No, that's sufficient on that item.
okay,
Well, short-term rental, we got a correspondence from attorney, Kate Johnson sent us a letter. We should have our attorney respond to that letter.
what would
here's-
be the reason?
Yeah, here's my thought on that, if I can jump in the interest of time, trying to keep you guys on schedule. Until you know where you're going to land on short-term rentals, I'm not sure we need to engage in prolonged argument on this, because if I, obviously I've stated at public meetings, my interpretation of the case law, that hasn't been a secret. So I could certainly write a lengthy response back arguing about the case law, but if next month the township's going to allow short-term rentals, it's sort of moot. So I think until you know where you're going to land on that, I'm not sure that we need to engage in that, or until you're engaged in enforcement action. If you start shutting down short-term rentals, then we need to engage in that dialogue with people. So I'm happy to do it if you direct me to, but it may not be productive or a good use of money at this time.
You would recommend that we do nothing and just table this, or not even table it, just abandon it?
Yeah, I don't see a compelling need where there's no enforcement action right now.
That was gonna be my thought process, so thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
So there's no action, right?
No action on this.
And we don't need to vote if we're doing no action, right?
Correct.
Right.
Before we move off that topic though, I think it's wise to extend the moratorium, because the whole point of that was to give us some space to, investigate the issue fully. I don't know that we've completed that process yet, but I think I, as a board member, would like to know, and I'm sure members of the public would like to know as well, like, what are our next steps? And in terms of trying to come to a conclusion on this issue.
Yeah.
So, I would be willing to work with anybody on the board or do it myself to maybe come to next meeting with some sort of proposal of, here's a possible timeline of next steps to get us to some resolution on this issue. I just don't think we should keep spinning our wheels. I mean, we have to get to some kind of solve.
I agree with that thought process, and since myself and Kate had visited some of the other towns and townships that have the STRs, I'd be more than happy to work with somebody on the board here regarding that and have a step process of what we're gonna do, when we're gonna do it and get it done. Otherwise, 6 months, 8 months can go by when we're in the same spot, and I don't wanna be there.
I mean, we had the PC give a report, we've
Correct.
done some investigation, we've gotten letters and we've had forums. I think
And it's
now we
all-
need to figure out what is our next step, so.
It's only fair for our taxpayers and the people that have the short-term rentals.
I did, have Ruth run the surveys that we got back
Awesome,
today, and she said there were 67 that were returned.
okay,
25 were in favor of short-term rentals, 13 of those were owners. 17 were absolutely no, they did not want short-term rentals. And she said 25 said they don't care either way.
25
And
what?
that's, they don't care.
Oh, okay.
sorry, read those numbers back one more time, Mary.
25 are yes, and out of that 25, 13 are owners.
Okay,
25 said they didn't care either way. And 17 were absolutely no.
how long has that been that we sent that out? I mean, do we think at this point we expect any more response from that?
You just got another one today, so.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
okay, so do you, since you're taking these numbers, are you willing to work with a timeline on this, or?
I'm happy to do that if the board's okay with it. I can work with you, Gary, or Kate, or both, or I think we need to do something to move the ball downfield.
Right,
I mean,
If I can be helpful in that, let me know.
Okay.
okay, thank you.
I don't think you need any action here. It's, you guys decide to go investigate and do it.
So you'll come up with a plan on what else we need to do here,
I mean,
At
it's
least
not
a
on our,
proposal.
it's not on our agenda, so
okay,
you're making the discussion to go
All
do
right.
something. It's good to get involved and have a little group session and figure out. Our next item is Station 1 and mini pumper next steps.
or we had a discussion. It's a discussion. We were gonna skip discussions and go to stuff we had to vote on.
I think that I was the one that asked to put that on, similar to the previous. We've talked about Station 1. I think we need to come up with what our next steps as a plan for that. So if we want to bump to next meeting, that's fine.
Let's bump it and, yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, because Dixie's getting some estimates and inspections done and that kind of thing, so we probably should wait many absolutes on that right now until we get everything together.
We're just wrapping up the insurance claims
Correct, yeah,
too.
and the insurance is just coming
It'd be
through.
nice to wrap that up.
Just to clarify on the mini pumper, I know, Mary, you were looking into financing. Is it clear to chief that we need one more bid or
Yep.
what?
We've talked about it, yep.
Okay, you're good.
We at least need one more. We tried to say that we wanted everything local, so he can only get two, really, in the state of Michigan.
Technically in West Michigan, I can only get two.
If you can get one more from anywhere in Michigan, that'd be
I'll
great.
just fire one off.
So we at least have something. I'm going to training here at the end of the week. And I'm hoping to talk to some other finance people there.
Okay,
Also, just to clarify, if you can't get three, we have to use what we could get. I mean, we can move forward with two.
He's talented, he'll go through.
Yeah,
You,
okay.
you have to document that you contacted a third and they didn't respond or.
Yeah.
Outrageous or too far away or whatever reason.
Like I said, I thought that it would be easier to search that out, and I found that they might call themselves dealers, but all they do is fix things, so. Not exactly the dealers we're looking for.
sorry, one last item on that, just to make sure that all the wheels are in motion. With the repair of both trucks now, do we have an accurate assessment of which truck we would possibly trade in, and do we have a final estimate on what that value would be? I mean, that would be a piece of the puzzle.
So at least the estimate on 70 will have to be done through that finance company. Joe Thomas, I think was what his name was. He works with Axes and Irons. He sells used trucks, that kind of thing, but he was waiting for a more stable portion. He gave a far bigger estimate than what we
Right.
thought.
He threw out 100.
Yeah, he said at least 100. So,
Well, that
but
would be
also on that same note, you guys have to realize as far as trading that truck in, that truck can't leave until after the mini pumper exists.
Yeah.
So technically, as far as we keep calling it a trade-in, I don't know if it would be able to be pushed at that sale. But 22 is too old. It is, as while I say it is still seaworthy and whatnot, I mean, it's a 31-year-old truck. So, 70 and 30 have the most new insides, I guess, because they've both been totaled.
Well, it seems to me that then, the older truck should be the one that we trade in.
But if you're looking for a return on investment, I
Well-
think 70, while it's still the problem child until it proves it's not.
Well, so far it's
Unfortunately, one of
not,
those
right?
things.
I mean, so far it's
Till
not.
she is, she's not.
Yeah, okay.
That's the tough part about it. It wasn't 70s problem. Waits for it to be.
Yeah, yeah,
And when it comes to that point, we can negotiate with them. on
Yeah.
it.
correct.
So
Correct.
my personal opinion would be 70 is the one. 22 in the next 5 to 10 years. Should probably be retired. She is from 1995. I know that we throw out the number for the old 62 being from 1985, but it's also a lot smaller vehicle and easier to maintain than a single chassis long fire truck.
Okay, well, like Mary said, that could be
Mary wants
negotiable. That could be negotiable.
I want the old truck.
But no, 70 would be the best one as far as trader value in my personal opinion. And that's the truck that I think all of us would like to just be out.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Jason?
We need a motion to postpone this till some period in time.
I'll make
I'll make a motion that we postpone it until we get all the financial information and
and the
Bids.
settlement, and the insurance is settled.
the bids.
Yeah, and, yeah.
Why do we need a motion on that?
I think what you just.
Postpone it. We still want this on the agenda to pick up some later date.
Well, we can just postpone it then to the next meeting, can't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we don't need a motion. We just postpone it.
Laura, if we're postponing, do we need a motion?
You should, under Robert's rules, do a motion.
Okay,
Oh,
there we go.
Well,
Thank you.
okay.
Robert's rules is not law, but if you're following Robert's rules, you would do a motion.
This is so I can understand better, but a couple board meetings ago, we voted to purchase a truck,
Okay,
but we didn't say when,
Didn't say-
and it wasn't on last month's agenda, so I don't understand why now all of a sudden we have something that's active that needs to be postponed. Aren't we still operating under the original motion of we're going to purchase a fire truck when we have all our ducks in a row?
Correct.
is there
Should be.
another decision that you need to make on this?
We just need to gather information.
we just
Okay.
need the financial end of it.
As a practical matter, my understanding is the point of the motion is to put it on next month's agenda,
Okay,
right? So it doesn't compel you to take any certain action on on that date. But it ensures that it comes up again for discussion. But
I'll
you're right, I
make a
mean, if there's
motion
not a pending, sorry, strictly if there's not a pending motion to do something, you're not tabling a motion, you're just tabling or rescheduling the agenda item.
We can put it on the agenda when we're ready, when we have all the information.
You can do it however you want. This would just say, okay, we are deciding as a board, we want to take it up at such and such meeting date.
I don't think we want to do that.
Okay,
So I think we just won't have a motion here, we just move on. And we'll put it back on once we get all
As
of
soon as
that.
we get everything, we'll make
okay,
it.
that works too.
Yeah,
Okay, we're done with that. I'm just gonna wait till we have info. The next one is to finish up the Construction Board of Appeals appointment. We need 3 members before we can hold a meeting. And I needed a construction type building inspector. And that inspector that came out and looked at station 1 and 2 is willing to be on that committee for us. So Eric Lenman, did I say it right?
Lehman,
I'd like to appoint him to the Commission of the Construction Board of Appeals for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2027.
my
any
only,
conflict of interest since we paid him for an inspection?
No. He's not
I mean, he's not,
he's
what
not
would the
a,
conflict be?
No, that we paid him money?
there's no conflict there.
my only comment is do we have to stagger these appointments just like you do on the Board of Appeals?
Just
I
says
think
2
it
years,
is.
the law just says 2 year. I can appoint him without even coming to the township board. This is,
No, maybe
I'm just,
I'm not making myself clear.
He agreed to do it until we find somebody else so they can get started.
yeah,
So,
we need to get started.
No, I understand.
Okay,
Okay.
he may resign shortly thereafter.
That's fine, that's fine.
Think I made a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
This is money, so we roll call vote. Ken's a yes. Mary,
Yes,
Mary,
yes,
Jason,
Yes.
$30.
okay. New business, transfer station dump ticket fees.
okay, I talked with Chuck and also met, come up with some information here regarding our dump tickets. And, I know we had 2 free dump weekends before. The problem with that is that everybody and their brother was there on Saturday and then Sunday was half. We had to shut it down early because the compactor was full. Because of all the people bringing it in. So in lieu of that, I would recommend that we change the free dump. Days to a free dump ticket or pass or
Yep.
permit, whatever.
Yeah,
A free dump permit with four punches on it for 4 times a year. And this would expire in a calendar year from December to January. And this can be given out, it's free. If you lose it, you're out of luck. You don't have the free dumps. But you'd have 1 ticket with 4 punches on it to use anytime during the year. And it's for residents only with an expiration date for calendar year.
How much? Dump truck,
those are the free.
Yeah, those are
One
free
punch, One punch.
1 punch.
what does a punch equal? A
What?
gallon bag,
Yeah.
yard?
It's
a bag. It's on this list.
It's on the list. And that's what it's,
You can do a kitchen bag, you can do,
you could do up to a barrel or a drum. You got 4 punches on it.
So I think this will be easier, Gary, to keep track of. We're just trying to clarify some of the rules, Ken, because everybody thinks there's different rules, so we're trying to make it easy for Ruth and Chuck.
Down at the bottom of the box where the punches are, they can use that ticket for any combination of those punches.
And then, the building supplies that where we have.
Right. Well, I didn't know if there was any more questions on the dump.
Well, we have nothing down here for one large appliance, freezer, refrigerator, air conditioner. Is that punches or?
I don't know how many punches that would be. Probably 20 would be my guess. This is what we got from Ruth.
Well,
Well,
I think we should have filled it out.
what,
On the bottom, right here, has no number of punches.
Here, I'll fill it out right now. It's 20.
yeah. And they can't have Freon in them. They gotta be free,
Correct. Can't
There
have
you go.
free on them.
right,
The refrigerator, yeah, or air conditioner.
yeah. The other thing is that, we're probably not gonna take any construction
That'd be wise.
material at all.
We want to give the compactor and
We
the,
wanna give the compactor, that's on an on-call basis, so I'm thinking we're gonna save quite a bit of money on that instead of having it picked up every 2 weeks. We're already taking care of that. We can have on this dump, list, we can tell them on here, we'll get it to Chuck. And I'll talk with him. The construction material can be, if they're taken to Bloomingdale or South Haven. Bloomingdale accepts it, and so does South Haven, because they have the open dumpsters there.
and the other thing we're
How
clarifying,
do you get a ticket?
Pardon?
you don't get a ticket. If
There's
you've
no
got
ticket.
construction material, you go to,
No, if I wanna buy a dump ticket, can you
go
get
to
them
the
on
dump.
site, get them at the township
same
hall?
place you've always gotten them, right on
Yep.
site.
Yep, that's not changed. The one with the 20 punches, the regular
Yeah.
one for $20. You get that at the site, or you can get it here at the township hall.
No, just the site.
Oh, excuse me, yeah. just
Free
the
ones are
site.
here.
Yeah. that's
Free
right.
ones are here because Ruth keeps track of the parcels that have them.
Right,
Okay,
And the other just clarification is that our transfer station is only for our residents, so.
correct. No non-resident.
So we just wanted to clarify a few things.
I attended a meeting with the conservation district with 4 different other transfer station and attendees, and picked up some good information. So that's kind of based on that, what I was able to pick up there and what they do and what works for them. To make it simple.
And
so
then
we need a motion to approve that list, right?
I have one more question. What about recyclables? Is there a charge for that?
No, there's no charge for recyclables. It is picking up. People seem to be taking care of that pretty well.
Because we put that for a 6-month thing, so we'll need to
Yes,
extend that. for
right.
6 months.
Right, that's a trial period.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the transfer station clarification.
Can we add that,
As presented,
the recyclables are free on that list?
And that, recyclables are free for another 6-month trial.
Mary made a motion, do you a second?
second,
This is money roll call. Gary,
yes,
Mary,
Yes,
Kenzie, yes. Jason?
Yes.
H2 is a partial compliance, a revised survey and a fee waiver. This was an adjustment that we needed to make because it appears that we did miss something when we did it the first time around. This is for the Robertson JC.
yep,
And the split of his property.
I remember this. The Robertsons did everything correctly. It was,
yes,
our
that's
assessor
the
dropped the
time.
ball.
Right,
I'll make a motion that we approve the fee waiver.
I got a motion by Mary. Can I get a second?
second,
Second by Gary. I guess we better do a roll call on this. Mary,
Yes,
Gary?
Yeah.
Kenzie, yes. Jason?
Yes.
We got a material management, plan, facility acknowledgement letter.
correct.
We need to have the township board authorize me to sign that letter.
Correct. We had one, it's just like the one last year. It has to do with, Conservation District, participating in a countywide facility for people to use, along with the tires and that sort of thing. So it's just saying that we are accepting, joining the Conservation District to, be used as one of the sites in the county.
Does this tie us into any money or anything?
No, so
So,
all you need to do is sign it and send it back into,
get. Gary, you're making a motion, right?
yes.
Did I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did I get all ayes?
Yes.
Okay, we have a memo to the township board related from the planning commission chair requesting for guidance description. That letter is not from the planning commission, the public body itself, but the chairperson. Laura, what should we do with this?
So to the extent that the request is for the township board to weigh in or propose changes to the planning commission bylaws, that's not the township board's role. The township board's control over the planning commission would be expressed in the ordinance creating the planning commission, which doesn't get into the nitty-gritties of bylaws. But otherwise, the Michigan Planning Enabling Act gives the planning commission the authority to establish its own bylaws and conduct its own meetings. It is a separate public body. So I'm not sure it's appropriate for the township board to say how the planning commission should be running its meetings.
Laura, do you have a copy of the memo?
Yeah, it was attached, I think it's in the agenda packet.
Okay. Did the rest of the board read the memo?
Yeah,
Yes,
Okay, well. I think, Laura, everybody's in agreement, and the issue is not that the planning commission cannot set its own bylaws. I think what I read in this memo from our PC chair is there's concern over, possible good governance issues, I guess. And while the PC can certainly set their own bylaws and the township board doesn't have any impact over that, what happens in the case of what's described in this memo?
My understanding from the memo, which I have pulled up here as part of the packet, is that the issue is kind of first, there's a suggestion about what role the ex officio member of the board can have in setting the agenda. To be clear, agendas aren't required by law, so there's nothing in the statute that dictates who can have input on the agenda. It is solely a governance issue, and that has to rest with the planning commission. As I understand it, the issue is should items or how items get added to the agenda, and the bylaws don't speak to that. Typically, what you'll see in planning commission bylaws is that the chair or perhaps any, one or two members can submit items for the agenda. If you don't have a way for members to add things to the agenda, then they can make a motion to amend the agenda at the meeting. But then that doesn't give the public a lot of advance notice. Again, not required because an agenda is not required by law. So it's all sort of policy governance related, probably a little bit more than legal, except to say if it comes down to an actual amendment to the bylaws, that's on the planning commission. And how a planning commission runs its meetings is up to the planning commission. And if the township board doesn't like how the planning commission is doing things, it's sort of limited in its ability to do things, because to remove a planning commission member, you have to have malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance in office. And I don't think anyone's suggesting that that's the case over an agenda. So I'm happy to answer more specific questions. I wasn't at the planning commission meeting, so I have to read between the lines a little bit here.
Yeah, did you say that the bylaws don't address how something gets added to the agenda? What I'm trying to do is we've got a planning commission chair that basically sent a a pretty detailed letter to the board saying,
We need.
I feel like I need help.
Yeah.
And I guess I understand that we're limited in what we can do legally to intervene, but did you say that the bylaws don't address how something gets added to the agenda? Because that's what's being proposed, is that the
Is that
bylaws
they-
are being changed to allow an additional way to add something to the agenda.
Right, I was saying typically a planning commission will have something like that in its bylaws. I don't have the bylaws up in front of me, so I was going based on what was quoted. So my understanding was they provide that the chair puts together the agenda and that the proposal is to allow other members to propose items for the agenda. And I guess I'd ask what you do at the township board level. I mean, if, Jason, if you want something on the agenda, are you able to submit it in advance?
We are, see, we have a mechanism that's just anything that is that you'd like on the agenda, you send ahead and have them placed on the agenda. Now, sometimes there's things that happen where it's not available right away and it comes in and we add that at the meeting. We just amend the agenda with the additions or deletions, whichever. And it's done at the board during the meeting. So there is a mechanism to do that. So
I've never been told that something can't be put on the agenda. Kara just puts it on the agenda.
So I'm not sure what the guidance is that we need.
Well, I think maybe it's clarification to our PC chair in terms of what the extent of her role is. To answer your question, Laura, if I were to say, yeah, I'd like to put item A on the agenda, I guess maybe it boils down to what is the role of the chair of any board. If there was bad reason for me to add something to the agenda, I feel like the chair could say it's not appropriate to discuss that at this point for whatever reason. If I disagreed with that, then I always have a mechanism where I can make a motion and get it added later, right? I'm just trying to understand why the PC is trying to change their bylaws to say anything submitted 5 days early must be added to the agenda. Doesn't that strip some sort of filter for things that shouldn't be put on the agenda?
I don't think so. I mean, again, it's up to the PC. If a majority of the planning commission doesn't want that, then they won't have it. I mean, one person cannot amend the bylaws to the planning commission. If a majority of the planning commission wants to agree to that, then they can agree to it. So there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's lawful to do that. Whether they want to do that, whether it's a good idea, kind of up to them. I guess what I'm saying is there's not a legal answer to the question, does the chair have to put something on the agenda if it's submitted? If the bylaws don't require it, then no. Whether they want to do it, whether it's good policy to have things added in advance of the meeting is up to the planning commission.
There was a document generated to allow a person to 5 days in advance of the meeting request that the chairperson put it on the meeting, and she refused to allow that to go to the planning commission members to hear that request to put something in the bylaws that allows the members to do it. During the comps, if we were able to sit down and debate it, it may have turned out that it requires a written request by 2 planning commission members to get it on the agenda that would show that if it went for vote at the meeting, that it would get put on there anyways. That way it would give us some transparency if somebody really feels something needs to be put on the agenda, that it will go out with the agenda package and everyone would have a notice well in advance. Right now, that doesn't happen. The chairperson can select what she wants or doesn't want on the agenda, and then the planning commission members would have to vote to take it off or put it on. And it just seems to be just easier if we can have it out there and everyone can see it so that everyone's up to speed when they walk in.
I could give
That
you
unreasonable?
there's, again, I just go back to, I could agree or disagree on the policy or the practical part of it or the governance part of it. If it's not in your bylaws, it's not required, but you guys have to decide as a planning commission how you want to function, what promotes
Yeah.
transparency the most, what ensures that issues get vetted. And that's going to be my answer as the attorney. I'm not a member of the board, so my policy opinion doesn't matter. That's the legal answer.
Okay,
So in essence, what you're saying is that it's actually up to the planning commission how they handle this.
Yes, 100%.
Well, and I guess maybe that's where we leave this. I mean, you mentioned vetting, and I think that is the issue at hand. At least as I interpret the memo from our chair, is that if the bylaws are changed that mandate an item get added to the agenda, as long as it's submitted 5 days before a meeting, then there is no vetting.
Well,
It's-
somebody
it's
could make
automatic.
a motion to amend the agenda at the beginning of the meeting if they want to take it off. But just because something's on the agenda doesn't mean it gets approved either.
Right.
Okay. It's just flipping it the other direction. All right, I get it.
Yeah, I don't have a stake in the outcome of that discussion. I think the planning commission is its own public body and it has to decide how to get along and how to get business done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
no action.
No action.
Everyone, no action on this?
So to clarify, Laura, the board has no authority over the planning commission. We can ask them to do things, but we have no authority, like, we don't approve their bylaws or anything.
Correct, you do not approve your bylaws. Your only authority was obviously the things by statute, right? They make a recommendation on stuff, all of that
Right.
stuff. But in terms of
Right.
their governance, they have sole control over their bylaws.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vesper,
Okay. In pursuit of an update on the battery energy storage system project that was proposed, called Gypsum Peak. I ended up on a conference call with Rich Russell and Brian Hopkinson from Vesper to get said update, and I wasn't quite prepared for the update that I got. And in my opinion, the update is a bit of a game changer. And I think it's worth discussion to consider this update because it could potentially give us the opportunity to put the township in a much better position moving forward. And I will explain what I mean by that. So the original Gypsum Peak project site, Vesper informed me is being abandoned. They have decided not to pursue that site anymore. We didn't get into the reasons why specifically, but he just kind of cited there was some further testing, there was some further evaluation. And I think the key piece of that puzzle, I'm assuming, was that there was new property that became available that they decided to investigate and like better. So I'm gonna pass this down to the board members. If you wanna hand that down. Cause you're gonna want a visual on this. It's a whole packet, Ken, just send the whole thing down. They are pursuing a new project location further west on the transfer line. If you look at this map, X marks the spot of the current parcel that they are looking at. You can see it falls between County Road 215 and County Road 681, south of County Road 380, right along the railroad tracks. Mary, this is the one. Are you looking at this
Yeah,
one?
is that the railroad tracks, the
The
squiggly?
squiggly line is the railroad tracks.
I was trying to decide what that.
That Breedville?
It is southwest of Breedsville. Ironically, well,
No, it's Yeah, southwest, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
southwest of Breedsville.
Yeah.
They basically said, they would like to know, given some of this information, and I'll unpack it a little more, if the township would wish to reconsider a workable ordinance, or if they should just proceed directly to state permitting. They sound like they're pretty convinced that this site's gonna work. They've talked with the landowner. There's 4 parcels actually under contract. If you look on the map where I have the X, that is the parcel that Vesper's proposing for the project to be located, but I did talk to the property owner as well. And where the circles are, those other 3 parcels are also under contract by Vesper currently. Now, Ken, you've probably already noticed that 2 of those parcels that are under contract are within the overlay district that you proposed. And the parcel that is now being heavily considered is adjacent to the overlay district, just on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Good job, Ken. Did you know that before? For this overlay district?
These parcels aren't contingent, why would they?
What's
get
that?
these for?
Yeah, well,
No, I recommended down there because it's, there's less.
Well, we never did anything with the overlay district, if you guys remember, but
Right,
Ken was
right.
proposing if we wanted to create an area for future projects, it would be great if it would be down in that vicinity. Well, Vesper has now decided to go into that vicinity for a number of reasons.
okay,
So here's, you know, this is why I think our residents deserve for us to at least give this some consideration. I understand where we landed before, and we might very well land in the same spot, but here's why I think this is a potential game changer. Number one, it is adjacent to the overlay district that at some point we were considering heavily. I don't think we ever approved that or voted on it. I believe Laura was part of helping draft that, if I'm not mistaken, but the new location may address several of the top concerns voiced by our residents. And I'll just list a few: waterways, proximity to residents, road access, and sound, just to name a few. Example, a lot of people were wondering about the decibel readings of the noise on the machinery. Well, if it's located right next to the train tracks, it's never gonna be louder than a train.
yeah,
So, that's just an example. It offers us as a township the opportunity to draft even more stringent ordinances that future projects would have to comply with. What I mean by that is the closest residence to this proposed site is 2,000 feet.
I was just gonna ask, I don't see any buildings in here, so that's.
Yeah. The previous site, I believe it was 300. And so in order to have a workable ordinance, again, to refresh everybody's memory, a workable ordinance is something that is workable for us and the project owner. And Vesper has already indicated that because the closest house is 2,000 feet, they would be amenable to increasing our setbacks on our workable ordinance to 1,000 or 1,200 feet, because they know they can fit those parameters, which would essentially make our ordinance for anything outside of this project almost impossible to comply with. So that was the whole point of a workable ordinance, if you guys remember, is we get a chance to put more strict regulations on what projects have to comply with. And this site gives us the ability to do that.
Rather than just having them go through the state and we're stuck with what the state says.
Correct.
We could make it a lot better for our township,
Correct. Correct.
more restrictions.
Yes. Now, I don't know if this is, I know we went through this for this was a long process for us and we ended up in a certain spot, but well, another reason I think we should consider this is when we passed on this, and said, just let it go to the state. Obviously, part of the reason was we did not know the status of the Eagle grants that are available for townships that do write workable ordinances. And since that time, that Eagle grant has gotten replenished at the state level, so there are funds available for grant money. That is a fact,
So the Eagle grant money is available now.
yes. We didn't know that before, I mean, it was running out, there was no kind of guarantee, but it did get replenished, so I'm just stating facts here, I know. I got accused of being on the take for Vesper before, because I was simply trying to present facts, but. We've had a lot of conversations about not wanting to raise taxes and things that our township needs to do and things that cost money. Enforcement for blight and whatever. And we now know that the Eagle grants for adopting a workable ordinances are renewed, so it would allow for us to possibly get an additional $1 million.
I was just gonna ask you, what is the amount of
It's
the
$1 million.
grant? That's available? Million.
And that doesn't include the additional incentive that we had written into our draft of our workable ordinance for a certain amount of money per megawatt. And I think that would equate it to another 300,000. So we know if Vesper comes here, if we say, forget it, go through the state and they come there, we're gonna get tax revenue out of it. But there is incentive for the township to write our workable ordinance, both from an ordinance restriction standpoint and a monetary standpoint. I mean, it would be an additional potentially $1.3 million that we could be eligible for. So here's the thing. It's a contentious issue. We know that, we all know that. And we kind of have to decide quickly if we're going to do anything with this. Because frankly, because of what happened before. I mean, that's what Rich said. Is this even worth bringing up, or should I just go to the state?
So,
Because we took a long time before and we strung it out, and then we ended up basically saying, go to the state, so.
so what they're saying is no matter what happens here, they're coming in.
Well, that's what we've sort of been faced with all along, is that unless something changes, and maybe Laura could even give us an update on where the lawsuit is with PA 233. I know Michael Homier just presented on that last week or something, didn't he, Laura?
Yeah, he did. He argued it in the Court of Appeals last Wednesday. You know, you never know what the Court of Appeals is going to do, but we felt the argument went very well, based on the reaction from the judges, but we don't know when a decision will happen on that. I can say we're working with, I think we have 7 clients who are involved in state level MPSC applications for renewable energy. If we win the PA 233 appeal, it will change the way that the MPSC is, you know, handling those cases, I think. That is to say, I'm not sure anything with that likely directly affects your decision on this. I mean, we're still in the same basic legal framework, which I think, you know, Jason, you explained well, where you can do a workable ordinance. If they agree to voluntarily comply with that, then you would have local permitting, or if you don't, then they can always go to the state.
Right. So don't shoot the messenger. I just think that this is a significant enough change of events that it would, my personal opinion is it would behoove us to at least consider it, whether or not we end up at the same place we did before. But all these variables,
I thought Baki was against this. Did he change his mind?
this is Stafford.
It's just, who's about it?
Stafford, yeah,
Right,
Stafford's a Baki. Stafford married a Baki. Pam Baki is.
His mother-in-law.
I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't matter who it is.
That's his.
It's under
That's his
contract.
mother. So he was totally against it. So he's on board is what I'm taking.
Yeah, he texted me the parcels that are under contract. So
Well, this is a lot better than the other location. I will say that.
it is a lot better than the other location.
Yeah.
Yeah. by the train station, it's,
Well, to me, next to the train, looks like a risk management thing. The train derails, now you got a train derailing in a battery storage plant, and then you've got a wetland on the other one, and then you've got it right next to the Breedville city or village. Haven't they had enough with all the marijuana in the village? Now we're gonna put a battery storage right next to them?
Well, I feel like this is the same conundrum we had before, in that we always argue about why it's not good to come in there,
Yeah.
which I'm not even speaking to the validity of any of that, but the fact that if we don't do anything, it's gonna come anyways. I just don't know why it even matters. Like, the question at hand is, does the township want to try to take advantage of another opportunity to put ourselves in a better position or not? Because
Exactly.
it's gonna come whether we do or don't, and I'm,
Get it?
so,
So what do we, is this just for discussion tonight, right? So maybe some brainstorming.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can verify this, that, because obviously I needed to disclose the conversation anyways, but
Right.
I said to Rich, if I bring this to the next board meeting, how much time do we have? And I'll have to re-verify this, because I think he said that they intend to proceed in June. So we would have kind of a month to decide what we're doing.
So we need to really discuss this and consider it by our next board meeting.
Yeah, and I think a key factor would be a question for Laura in my mind is, we have that draft workable that we didn't do anything
Pursue,
with.
yeah.
If we wanted to entertain this idea, Laura, can that just be picked back up?
I guess, well, remind me, this has been what, a year? Has been more than a year since that was a public hearing in the planning commission. It's
Yeah,
been a
it's been a
while.
while.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could, we could pick up like based on that draft, but I'd still want it to go through the planning commission public hearing process again.
I was thinking that was last
There's no,
summer that we,
yeah, there's one Michigan Court of Appeals case, and it's unpublished, so it's not binding, that kind of says they go stale at a certain point. And there's not a bright line rule. It doesn't say at 11 months and 5 days it goes stale. I think in that case it was a year or a year and a half. But for something this important, and particularly because there would be changes, right? If we're talking about there being more generous setbacks, more favorable, I would say, to the township setbacks, then that's different and it should go through the process. But I suspect if, and I don't think the township board, is going to decide this tonight or should decide it tonight since it's kind of new information. But if you send it to the planning commission in June, does that stave them off for a little bit? Or the state process is not fast either, for that matter. I mean, the state applications are running a year and a half to get approved at least. So by that, I mean, even if they were moving toward the state, would you still want to entertain that? And maybe I don't know. I don't want to speculate on what they do or would do. I don't think it's realistic that you have a zoning ordinance adopted by June.
But, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Jason's question was, since we did, entertain a workable ordinance before, that could still be picked up and changes made to it, and then we'd have
Yes.
to give it back to the planning commission, and we'd have to go through all the procedure again.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we can start with that same document and make changes. We don't have to start with a blank screen, but I do think it needs to go back through the planning commission.
Yeah, okay.
okay. And that's, well, and through the entire process again?
Well, so when we say entire
Hearings, county
process,
commission, that kind of thing? Yeah.
correct. Yep, it would do planning commission public hearing, recommendation of planning commission to township board, goes to the county planning commission for their opportunity to review. Township board makes a decision. So, I mean, at the most accelerated pace, that's going to take the total of that. The fastest you could probably do it is 8 to 10 weeks. Because the county planning commission period is 30 days.
Right.
And the notice
I
for the
remember that.
planning commission public hearing is 15 days and things have to get published.
Sure.
Okay. What do we wanna do with it?
I, my feeling is to put this on the agenda for our May meeting. And maybe have. Well, I don't think it's I don't think the timeline is to do anything with the. With the renewal of the workable ordinance or anything, but I think we should at least have it on the. On the meeting agenda for our May meeting.
Well, I think you ought to send it also to the planning commission so we could get a head start on it, get it to all the members and
We could do that too.
take a fast look at it so that we're not coming in when you send it down to us, we can take a look and see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Vesper can provide, Jason, you said they would be willing to do larger setbacks if they are willing to provide what they will accept as workable so that we can put that in a draft as we're going through this and try and expedite the process a bit.
Sure, I can request that. I mean.
Aren't they?
Locally in conversation, he kind of said 1,000 feet would be no problem in this situation, so.
Yeah, I want to
but
lock that in.
Yeah.
Aren't they gonna want to know what our wishes are maybe for setbacks and low light and everything else? Screening?
We have a lot of that addressed in the workable already,
Okay,
but,
okay. All right.
I mean, Ken, what are your thoughts?
It's well,
You're on the
I mean,
planning
it's
commission as
worth
well.
looking at. I mean, it's, you know, looking at, you know, right now, I need to dive into it, but for the only thing I see right now is I'm still concerned about emergency services and evacuation and things like that. We don't have a station down there. You have to come probably from both directions. John's not listening.
I'm listening, I'm looking at the map, but I didn't get a map.
But it's worth looking at. I'm not I'm not gonna sit here and be negative about it. I haven't looked at, but first thing comes in my mind is my fire protection emergency service evacuation stuff. And that's one of my backgrounds, so. Environmentally, they probably got their studies, they're doing their studies. I'm pretty sure that's higher land because it's blueberry fields. Are they putting solar in or some other, because they got all that land around it hooked up?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. I mean, but we didn't discuss that at all. This was specific to battery storage, so I don't know.
I would move with the assumption that there will be a solar aspect. A lot of their plants do use solar. I know at least the two that were at the state level for the UP were solar.
In conjunction with battery storage?
Normally there are.
Yep.
It's better to have their powers to send it somewhere than take it from off the line and put it back on.
Okay, I will get the information mentioned and.
It's worth looking at. This should go to the planning commission, get it to all the members. I'll scan this, unless you got a digital, copy?
I think so.
You do?
I think so.
If you got a digital, send it to me so I can send what, instead of me scanning this and.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to send it to the planning commission or?
Yeah, Laura, do we need a motion to do anything or?
If you're gonna send it to the planning commission, you might as well do that by motion. Because you're directing them to consider it.
Okay,
Jason, you're making that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
There's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I got an eye on that too.
Public comment, right?
You have any information on the Eagle grant? I mean, you said Eagle grant, have you looked up any information on what the grant entails?
As far as application or?
Well, sometimes the grant will say that you only can use it for the benefit of.
Oh.
And if it doesn't apply to.
I think we looked that up back in the day when we were in the middle of this. I mean, I know Karen, you've talked to the director, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
can't think of his name now, but he made it sound like they actually assist you in making your application like custom to what you need.
Okay,
They were
Yeah.
pretty easy to work with, it sounded like.
Yeah.
okay, we done with that?
Yep.
Public comment? Dixie?
I would like to remind the board that there was a room full of people here who did not want a battery storage. That they didn't care what money we got from the township, or the state, or people, or wherever it is. They do not want it. They want their community as it is. They don't want to be concerned about any type of emergency that might happen, as we've all seen what happens with battery storages. That's through things that we've seen in the past. Jason, I thought you said that Vesper's already gone to the state. And
They did, they were in the process, but they abandoned the project.
so they did not go to the state.
It was in process. I mean, I don't know the technicalities of it, Dixie, but they did.
Okay, so they applied to the state already. They've already made their application to the state of Michigan. That's what you said before. Now they're coming back to us again. And also, didn't we determine that we didn't want to do a workable ordinance because we didn't have the sophistication or the power or the money or the energy to do any of that? That we would have the officials at the state actually take that up. And also we would have the ability to have our input into the state's process.
Any other public comment?
Order. Our address is on 52nd and Half Street, so we're pretty close to that. That was kind of within our line. Again, I guess just going back to it, we know where the state stands on this stuff. We know that they're going to approve it because the state wants the revenue. I just think, as much as I hate to say, I don't want the noise coming in my backyard, so I can't sit out on my deck. But if we can have any say and input over extra soundproofing or whatever, and they're coming anyway, let's reap the benefit and the dollars that it's gonna bring to us.
Anyone else?
I guess I would just like to ask Laura, what is the role of the chair in your view for the planning commission? Because I do know that the state of Michigan prohibits the supervisor from being the chair. Why would that be? Please tell us.
Incompatible office.
If I could ask Laura, that'd be great.
Oh.
She's still there?
Does the board want me to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I saw the comment that you made, and Kate, I'm not trying to, it's hard because I'm not there in person, so it's easier to talk face to face. But I think it does that because the law, at least there's some AG opinions that talk about, some separation between the township board and the planning commission, because the planning commission is a separate public body. So you have an ex officio member, you have a township board member, but I assume, without knowing, because I don't think there's any actual legislative history on it, I haven't researched it, that they don't want the township board member to be the chair because they want somebody else to be the chair. But it doesn't mean, obviously, that the township board member doesn't get to participate or have a vote, because they clearly do. What I said about agendas is that the law doesn't talk about agendas because agendas are not required. So I'm the lawyer. I can only answer legal questions, not policy questions. There's no law that says the chair is solely responsible for the agenda. It's just not a question that's answered by the statute. It's something that planning commissions typically put in their bylaws, and I would encourage the planning commission to have a discussion at its meeting about what it wants that process to look like. And if a majority of the planning commission is good with how things are, then it stays the way things are. If a majority of the planning commission thinks the bylaws should be different, then they can amend the bylaws. I have no idea what a majority of the planning commission thinks on this issue. I didn't know there was an issue until, today or very recently. And it's something that typically doesn't reach the level of the township attorney because it's just a matter of planning commission governance and how you guys decide to operate.
Yeah, I don't take issue with any of what you said what you just said. What I do take issue with is that I've been chair for a year. And we've had no agenda issues, none whatsoever. In fact, I do invite the commission by email to give me your agendas. The whole issue of agenda setting came up in the context of short-term rentals. And the fact that our supervisor is so dead set against it, that he pushed through on 3 different meetings at the last minute, a resolution to ban. And ultimately that ban passed and the board had to deal with it at its March meeting. Then on the heels of getting that resolved, the ex officio set forth the amendment to change the chair's role, which is to set the agenda. And then in addition to that, at our last meeting, when we're in the middle of trying to review our zoning ordinance, and we paid a professional audit we had a professional audit done of our zoning ordinance. We're working through the zoning ordinance, looking at the audit. The chair or the ex officio wanted to divert our attention away from the current zoning ordinance to a draft ordinance. Well, why would that be? Well, the draft ordinance actually gets rid of R2 and combines it with R1. So it gets rid of resort businesses. So we've got a ex officio who in 3 separate occasions is kind of taking over the conversation with he does have a voting block because he's got 2 people that always vote with him, and it's really making it impossible for us to do the business of revising the zoning ordinance. And I only bring it up because I really like doing this work. It's a pleasure and an honor to do some work for the planning commission. Our job is to revise the zoning ordinance and the master plan and do the work that the board asks us to do. But I'm running into a strong personality, which wants to dictate how things go on the issue of short-term rentals. I was hoping we could get off short-term rentals and we get back to a normal way of doing things. But he keeps doing it. So now we may move into this issue with the best facility, and I would expect him to just take it over. And it's my understanding based on my research, that it's just best practices. The reason that the chair is put in charge of the agenda is so that there is somebody keeping a gatekeeper there. In fact, our original PC ordinance did not have a chair position, but it was added on, presumably because PC in this township decided it needed a chair. I am not an authoritarian person. I don't stop issues from coming to the agenda. The only time I did was to protect the township because there was this three meetings almost in a row where the ex officio with his 2 friends were trying to push through this ban, and you know what happened. So that could happen again. You know, we could waste our money on a zoning ordinance that isn't even our zoning ordinance. It's a draft ordinance that doesn't, and why would we do that? But I could get the ex officio and his 2 other commissioners to say, yes, let's look at the draft ordinance and divert our attention from the actual ordinance, which is full of problems and for which we had an audit done so we can fix it. So I'm just kind of stuck. I'd really like to see the township move forward. I'd really like to see the zoning ordinance revised, but right now I'm gonna be walking into a meeting next month where, oh no, we don't want to talk about the current ordinance. We want to talk about some draft ordinance that was written 2 years ago by another planning commission, which bans short-term rentals. It seems like a personal agenda to me. It seems like politics is taking over procedure in the planning commission, and that's my issue.
So thank you for that context, because that's not an agenda issue, right? I mean, you're talking about obviously substantive issues and political issues that are more than the narrow kind of legal question that was posed. What I would say is, first, if the board wants me to attend a planning commission, I'm happy to do that. Secondly, I guess the clarity I would wonder is, what is actually pending before the planning commission on short-term rentals? Because I'm not sure there's anything pending in the planning commission on short-term rentals.
No.
Nothing.
Okay.
And there wasn't when the resolution was passed, by the way, there was not. We had
So
no
my-
business. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Sorry.
simply introduced by the ex officio.
Yeah, my other comment is at the end of the day, when it comes to zoning amendments, the planning commission is just a recommending body. And I don't say that to take away any of the hard work you're doing, but the ultimate decision, even if it's 3-2 at the planning commission, it's this township board. And I know you know that, Kate, but just for the public's benefit, it comes up to the township board, that's the legislative body. So I think, the planning commission can provide its recommendation, can provide all of its research, and it's going to have to come up to the township board. So, I mean, is it political? I mean, all local government is, I suppose, political to some extent, but the planning commission can only speak through a majority of its voices. If a majority want to recommend something up, then the township board's going to have to decide whether they want to adopt that or not. And that's just how it works. There's no one member, whether it's the chair, the ex officio, or any of the others on the planning commission, who can unilaterally push something up. I mean, it's got to come up on a majority. So especially with the workable ordinance, again, I can be on Zoom and save money, but if the board wants me to attend a planning commission meeting, happy to do that. Just let me know.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
Circling back to the moratorium on short-term rentals. I understand you're gonna extend it another 12 months to review things and gather an ordinance. I just wanna say, please consider all the current existing ones that have existed for, there's some that have been there 20 years. Airbnb and Verbo, that's just a modern way of doing business now. Since the 1800s, this area has been doing it, word of mouth. No cash under the table. Airbnb and Verbo is just a new thing. So just consider all the existing ones and make it right to the current owners.
We have your name for the record.
Ryan, that's 515.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Board comments? Gary,
I have no comment.
Mary?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to the Treasure Institute, so I'm hoping to learn a lot. We invested township money and we were able to make $69,000 in interest last year, which will be divided amongst the different funds. So our CPA will be doing that. So that's it. Thanks everyone for coming.
There you go.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
Jason?
Yeah, Ken, I would like to say thank you for the work you do on the roads. We talked a lot about roads today and, candidly, it's not anything I really think about much. It doesn't come on our agenda in any tangible way, but I know you work on it a lot. Thank you.
Too much. Well, thank you. I have no comments. We're gonna adjourn at, we went over 9:30.
After that.
Technically not, we started.
Nice. Still 2 hours. Have a great night, everyone.
Hi, Laura, thank you.
Yep, take care.
This is not bad. I think it's very interesting. Well, should have been more time.